welcome back to me finishing up Deluge, Threnody of Crashing Wave. I just came back from my vacation, had a great vacation. As you can tell, I'm in a great mood right now. But yeah, finally back, and now we're gonna start it strong while I've been playing Deluge. And today we are gonna do all endings. All possible endings. The ending with... I forgot the names of all of them. All the endings. In the last episode we did one ending. Now it was like the alone ending, die alone ending as I call it. And today we're gonna do all the other endings. So if I'm not mistaken, I made two saves. One where you have to pass the offer, and one where you don't trust her and see where that leads. No, this one is taking her ending, following her to her ending. I don't remember her name. Was it Rika? Yeah, Rika. Doing Rika's ending, and one where you pass and maybe do Ina's ending. So, and we're gonna try and get to the blonde one's ending too. I don't know how to get that one, but we're gonna start off with rejecting her offer and trying to go for Ina's ending, because I kind of want to wait with Rika's ending because I think hers is that she is like the girl from the sea, and I kind of want to see that last. You know what I'm saying? So, let's go with Rika now. For now. Okay, we're in. I'm afraid I'm going to have to pass on that offer because she asked if you wanted to date her. She grew cold. Okay. I'm sorry, babe. Cutting and getting along so well. You leave me no choice and respect your decision. Oh, that's fine. Thank you. I believe for the coming future we should be a certain distance. It's been a while, as you can tell, since I've read the visual novels between the two of us, to protect both our feelings, if you understand. Okay. We may run into another sometime, Abe, but please keep your distance. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines your life. A girl's heart is so easily broken. Please excuse me for now. I have to look for my best afternoon service. Okay. With these words, she turned away, trotting off a brisk pace. Let's see. So we're going to try and do all endings. It will maybe be a bit longer episode, as you can tell. But we will just plow through all the endings now. Next day, Ina didn't show up for school. Ooh, yeah, because... Oh, I remember. When we came back from Rika's date, or yeah, when we came back for the alone ending, Ina was just like laying on her bed really depressed. And I don't really got to the bottom of that. I think we're going to do that now. During lunch break, I received a text message from her, asking me to check out the office and bring her computer hard drive. She didn't reply to any of my further inquiries into her situation. Ooh, there's the broken glass. The office was in the exact same state that we left it in Saturday afternoon. Apparently the damage to the window had gone completely unnoticed. I secured the computer's hard disk before informing the general department about our broken glass. Okay. Good. Oh, the bees again. Okay, now she's just laying in the bed, ain't she? I found Ina in her bedroom, in most of the same state as I left her. She appeared listless, hardly responding to my presence. Ina, I brought you the hard drive you asked for. She muttered a thank you. Thank you. Have you been eating? I'm okay. I stood there for a while, not really knowing what to say. Bitch, buy her a pizza. She's hungry. Quite the story read last night, huh? It was. So what did you make of it? It has changed my very perception of reality. She looked at me with a stare of bemusement in her eyes. You take that nonsense serious? You're more gullible than I thought. I was just joking. It makes me wonder how a document like that could come into existence. Because it's true, you idiot. A civilization that in a state of decline will often fall back to beliefs from a simpler age. Like a senile old grandmother singing nursery rhymes in a rocking chair. Georgie Porgy Pudding Pie. Kissed the girl and made them cry. For children, singing nursery rhyme is a happy pastime, as it contributes to the formation of the developed psyche. Oh, you weren't singing anymore. But when a demented person sings them, there's always a sinister undertone, as they are significant of greater reversal taking place. These memories from childhood are all that remain to a worn-out, withered mind. Our society is growing decent, where we're communal sliding into a void of decay, and now that we're on our way out, we grow more and more receptive to pre-modern folk tales. as such to document the dime store horror tale that we read last night. Okay. You're so confident it was all made up? Pagan Rituals by the Seashore? It was one of the biggest farces I've ever read. A witch hunt, no more or less. I wouldn't have expected these kind of hoaxes to persist into the 19th century. It must be a symptom of corrupted enlightenment for clerical use of superstitions of the distant past against the community they deemed spiritually backwards. The presbytery like felt threatened by the upstart of the separatist congregation, oh my god, to the extent that they would make up allegations of witchcraft and idolatry against the dissenting pastors. And to think that Marcus Leppold willingly participated in reviving these folk beliefs in this day and age. He must be desperate going to such a length to paint the church in a negative light. Oh, she's crying. These accusations, these lurid tales of horror and decency, these prejudices aren't natural to man. But they are often born from fertile ground, from generations sadism, inbreeding, and false piety. Why are you crying about this? Is this such a sensitive theme for you? To think that this madness would take place in a developed country. And she's crying. You should know, time isn't always simultaneous. The originating history of modern nation will always allow us for pockets where time runs at a crawl, where practices and ideas remain conserved, sheltered perfectly from the winds of modernity that rage throughout. She sighed. The irrationality of it all. We went through so much trouble just to uncover that stupid document. I should have seen this coming. I'm clearly not as perceptive as I thought I was. Okay. In an attempt to cheer her up, I tried to change the subject. You know, I can hope that get harder out for you if you want. There are other things to write about. We could start on next week's cover article. Ooh. Never mind. I received a word from the headmaster this morning. They're cutting our funding. They said we've been reporting too little on school matters. She visibly distraught. Yeah, but of course, you're a school paper. If you don't report on school, then what's the fucking point of you? What? They can't do that. What? It's no use fighting it. The school board are all church members. We won't be able to cover printing costs with any additional funding, let alone your salary. I haven't even paid yet. She was so melancholy to acknowledge my comment. Do you realize how much work I put into Sunday Abbot? All my spare time for almost 2 years, all for nothing. It wasn't for nothing. Oh, it's not my own fault for trying to build in a town like this. Nothing would go in tainted soil. It was sprout and rot and fall to pieces. My life's work gone, all over 19th century hoax. Your life work 2 years? You're fucking delusional. Oh no. It's time to give up this pointless investigation. It's not like we have any other choice. What are you talking about? Let's call it quits. Ah, so here's a choice. And I bet that one of these choices lead to that blonde girl. So I'm gonna save. Let's save this one. Do you want to overwrite? Yes, I am sure. Okay. Can I go back? Okay. Let's do, well, if that's what you truly want. No, let's go. I can't agree with that. You what? I can't let you quit the Sunday Abbot. Even if the appendix comment was dead end, there's still so much work to do. Though I admit I was doubtful at first. Over the past few weeks, you really won me over. If you won't continue the paper, I will. Without you and your negativity. For the first time since I entered the room, I thought I noticed a faint light igniting in her eyes. God damn, that's a tongue twister. You will? You really do care, don't you? Nah. I'm gonna shut up. Come on, Abe. Let's get something to eat. Thank you, girl. Let's eat some. I'm hungry. Ooh. Next morning, I woke to my phone buzzing while my eyes adjusted to the light. I could hear Ina answering the call. Really? That's a huge relief. We'll head down there immediately. Thank you for contacting us. She put away her phone and began dressing herself. Wait, did we sleep together? That was Karen. What? I thought Karen was dead. She's making a steady recovery and says she wants to issue a statement to the press. Let's head to the hospital right away. Um, I thought she died. Wasn't it confirmed that she died? Part 5. Ina! There's the ending we want. Let's go. What? We made our way to the front desk, where we redirected towards the neurology ward. Ooh. There she is! Good to see you fine and well. Karen was doing rehabilitation exercises, carefully pacing the hall like a bird that had forgotten how to fly. A cerebral contusion. I was out for a solid minute. I couldn't hold into the food for the first few days. The police came by my bed, but as expected they were completely useless. Will they secure the crime scene alright? Wouldn't Ellen even allow press in? Karen let an expert chuckle. Come, let me sit on the bed. Okay. You don't have to be so forward about it. Let's go. So what can you remember of the night of the attack? Ina appeared anxious for answers. That night when it happened. I had to spend most of my day working in the garden, so the back door has been unlocked. After it grew dark, I had dinner on the couch while reading through some policy papers for the plenary meeting next morning. Then as I got up to bring my dishes to the kitchen, I suddenly saw a shadow in the corner of my eye. Everything went black. The last thing I remember was the sound of falling plates. The perpetrator must have snuck inside something during the day and waiting until sundown. And he just left you there? You could have died. How did the emergency services find you? Well, I got lucky. Wait. How? He just left you there? What? A killer is gonna kill you and then report it? What the fuck are you talking about? Fears had been hanging around me all afternoon, digging up the garden and acting like an all-around nuisance. When the attack happened, he must have still been close by, close enough to be alerted by the noise. Hell, he had seen me lying out cold on the kitchen floor. The neighbors said Fears began barking and whining that he kept out until she went out to take a look. He was my savior. According to the neutralist, I could have retained permanent brain damage if it hadn't been found so soon. I figured every dog has its day. And do you have any idea who did this to you? Karen sighed. Never saw the face of my attacker. But I have my suspicions. Are you guys up to date on local politics? Ida nodded eagerly. Well, Abe, you should know that Abbotsford Town Council holds a total of 14 seats. A party needs an 8-seat major to obtain a mayoral office. When the largest party doesn't secure 8 seats during the election, a coalition of 2 or more parties has been formed with a major rule. I am not bored, I am just really tired. As you can see. But that's unnecessary, as Air holds 8 seats at the moment. That's right, Air currently holds an absolute majority in the council. An agonized expression drew over Karen's face. The problem is Air isn't free of inner division. Our seats are evenly divided by Edgerians like me on this one side and church loyalists on the other. And now that I've been temporarily incapacitated, a stand-in has been appointed to take my seat in the council until I recover. My replacement, the highest listed party member who does not yet occupy a seat, is a man named Robert Liders, who is a partial of the church. Oh, I see. Someone from the Cooper faction. Okay, that means it makes sense. If you want to stay like this... Carol laughed wryly. So you're saying that due to your incapacitation, the Cooper faction now controls 5 of Air 8 seats? Yes, and this has greatly disturbed the balance of the power. Together with Flock 05, the 3 seats Church now holds are politically majority. They can bypass the 3 Agarian councilmen in a party and implement new legislation with the Flock support. It's a de facto coup. Yeah, I know. Leopold has been updating me on the most recent developments, and it's worse than I ever imagined. The Cooper faction and Flock are passing laws left and right, all under very nose of their mayor, who is powerless to object. Her voice was breaking. She paused for a moment. Oh, these hospital dorms have turned me melancholy. Why use the word melancholy so goddamn much? Maybe I wasn't suited for politics after all. You are. A nurse came in informing us that our visiting hours were over. What? So how long will it take for you to return to work? If I stick to my exercises, I should be able to leave the hospital in a few days. Though even then, I will take a while before I am able to return to my duties. She shot us a nervous glance. Please don't tell anyone. We don't want Ellie to take a second incident. Oh, are you sure you'll be safe at home? Oh, I'll manage. I'm planning to have my Fears stay at my apartment for protection. She winked. Oh, shit. Villains beware. Damn. Okay. Good luck on your investigation. You can come visit me again I'm out. Okay. When I'm out, that makes more sense. What's poppin'? What are we doing, Ina? Hello. As we hang around in the lobby deciding what to do next, I suddenly hear a familiar voice. So, kids, have you delivered your fruit basket? Oh, it was you. I remember the voice that I gave you. I looked over to see Leopold, who had approached us from this side of the restaurant. Same, Abe. Different girl. I really hope you found what you were looking for this time. Hey, hi, Leopold. That was that. This is Ina. You may know her. I gestured at Ina, who was eyeing the market suspiciously. Leopold shot her a cold look. The town star's journalist. How are you? I'm fine. He returned his attention to me. I'm glad you've been able to visit Karen. She's made an impressive recovery. I come here every day to fill her in on the council business. Has she told you what's going on down there? It's atrocious. A regular mutiny. You kids should come along for a glass or two. I want to ask you something. Okay, we're up for a glass. I know I am. Ooh. There we are. They're more than signed up for. These events of late. The Cooper faction and Flock have efficiently hijacked our plenary sessions. All their motions are immediately put to vote and approved with 8 to 6 majorities. They have all axed our summon labor programs, blocked construction of gas station on the motorway. Ooh. And they will be reminded of all the maniacal tax deductions for the agricultural sector. Maybe that isn't so bad. Look, I'm no country boy myself, but the farms are our main source of income. However, the thing I'm most worried about is a new package of austerity measures regarding our municipal water management infrastructure. They're proposing a 40% budget cut of all drainage and pumping systems. An incredibly foolish move if you ask me. We need to guard ourselves against the water. These systems are our lifeline. Please understand, the town falling into the hands of the zealots, without any regard to the public good. I'm a Cosmolian man, you know. I don't want this place to go down the route of so many backwards towns. You should know what I'm talking about, Abe. You dated that Cooper girl for a while. Excuse me? I never dated her. Rika is batshit crazy. She gave me so much wine, I was so scared. I wanted to leave the whole time. I called my mom, but she didn't reply. Okay. You know what they're like. These fundamentalists. So principled, so judgmental. Didn't take you long to trade her in. I figure Ina here doesn't make you wait. Ooh, gunshots. That's cool. Ina let out a disgruntled cough. Why is the music so damn loud? Oh, and I was wondering, Abe, did Saint Anthony show mercy upon your tainted soul? What? He chuckled mischievously. Anthony of Padua, the patron saint of lost things. I recall you were searching for something last time we met. And from John Cooper Sour's expression the following day, I was inclined to assume you may have acquired it. I saw a twinkle in his eyes. Oh yes, we did it, most of it at least. Ina shot me a deathly glare. Okay. I'm impressed. Never imagined you kids could pull it off. Now look, although I don't want to involve myself too deeply in these matters, I know a lot about the church. I can help you with your investigation. Police record, council logs, you name it, I can get it. I could make your research go a lot easier. But the thing is, I've told you I'm a selfish person. A man is nothing without a home, a dry leaf floating on the wind. What do you want? I would love to receive a copy of the appendix document. That's out of the question. For a second I thought Leopold would lose his cool as he sat toiling under Ina's contemptuous glare. You can't have that document, it's filled with occult nonsense, but I'm sure you already know. There's enough corruption and treachery in this town, we don't need to add a modern day witch trial. Although I realized that we're currently facing a crucible of journalistic integrity, I drew the line here, do you understand? Leopold, who had intentionally endured Ina's extortion meekly, or began to regain some of his former cheer. I apologize, Ina. I didn't realize it was all so bad. I was regretfully never in position to read the text myself. We know. My gardener, Jan, who put me on the documents trail, he was a little rigorous at times. He was a Catholic, you see. Anyway, I still love to read it. If you ever change your mind, you'll know where to find me. Ina grunted. I'm serious. We got up from our seats. On our way out, I thanked the Marquis jovially. Cool. I wonder how Ina ending is gonna go. Like, how is this ending gonna change anything? After we returned to the house, Ina immediately retreated to her room to read. The rest of the day she remained somber as though a grey shroud was weighing down upon her. I mostly left her to her own devices, only check upon her infrequently. At around 1 o'clock, I knocked on the door to bring her some coffee. She invited me in. Okay. She's crying again. Perfect. Leopold is human filth. I won't deny that, but I'm not really agreeing either. No, really, I feel dirty even talking to him. What a revolting man he is. The curtains were drawn. A musty odor permeated the ill-ventilated room, though there was a sweet, tempting aroma hiding within. What the fuck? Leopold is clearly at the end of his lineage, the dredges of centuries of decency and spiritual failure that have slowly sunk to the bottom. The age of nobility is decisively over. The riches of once esteemed class has come to form a layer of filth coating the sewers of exhausted society. God damn, Ina, you need to stop talking like that. There's but one term to alter decency, and that is death. Deaths of the bloodlines of the cultures. Ina, don't talk about death. Although our own death still lies far ahead of us, somewhere in the murky darkness of coming millennium. Ina, please stop talking about the fucking death, man. You're bumming me out. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get caught up in the depressive thoughts whenever I read too much. And don't read that much. In an attempt to cheer her up, I tried to return her attention to the case. I was thinking about what Marcus told us about his gardener, Jan. Don't you think it could consist of motive? Clearly Jan was onto something. He knew about the damaging appending documents. What if it was the church that tried to take him out, to silence him? But then when they preparated the murder, they accidentally killed the wrong guy, Michael, a different farm worker. Sounds plausible, doesn't it? When the body was found, Jan realized the attack was meant for him, so he fled his hometown to never return. And subsequently the church, who were content, now that Jan was out of the picture, tried to frame the Argarians for the murder, thus expanding their political influence, effectively killing two birds with one stone. Though I could tell Ina was hesitant to talk about the matter, a grand apparatus had clearly begun churning inside her head. I'm impressed, Abe. Your deducting skills are clearly improving under my mentorship. Shut the fuck up. My deducting skills have always been there. To be fair, I thought about this exact same scenario. An apprehensive look was forming in her eyes. But it can't be. I was taken aback, though I realized my theory is far from perfect. Outright rejection seemed harsh even for her standards. What about the police investigation? The police is loyal to the mayor. Why didn't they find the culprit? I don't know. I mean, it's Abbotsford. Small-town police forces are rife with incompetence. Still, it's impossible. It can't be. If there's one thing we learned from the assault on Karen, it's that the church has its ways to deal with dissenters. Now, I don't know if they used their own people or if they hired thugs to commit the attack. It's likely they didn't even want to kill their target. Maybe just wanted to scare him a little, like they did to Karen, but then they struck too hard and he bled out. I mean, judging from the fact that they didn't even get a right guy, we're clearly not dealing with professionals. While I was speaking, a languid expression had formed in her eyes. No, you don't understand. It's impossible. How is it impossible, Ina? Shut the fuck up and tell me that. Involuntarily, I raised my voice as I growing impatient with Ina's complete disregard for my contributions. And then she threw herself onto the bed, hiding her face in the palm of her hand. I don't like where this is going. I'm sorry, Abe. It's a good theory, but it can't be. The mayor's brother, George, he has to be the preparator. She was speaking in a broken voice. He's a violent man, a very, very violent man. Ina. She paused for a second, as not let her emotions overpower her. Please, trust me, I know. I'm sorry. I know exactly how horrible and vile he is. Ina, what happened? I could feel my voice trembling. You can tell me. In that moment, everything came to an abrupt halt. Oh. While fighting back the tears, she began to speak. Oh no, what is this? George Prudy, pudding and pie. The age itself has turned irreversible vulgar. Most people have no idea what to extent they become tainted. Like me, I've always been drifting. From a young age onward, my mother was never there to hold my hand. And for that reason, I was always drifting, because there was no one to guide me. She spoke the words in a monotone murmur, as though they had been repeated internally many times. It happened 2 years ago when I was 16. Wait, what? Ever since elementary school, horseback riding has been my passion. Oh, cool. I relish in the freedom of galloping through the fields on the Potato. My favorite horse. How do you call your horse Potato? That's a disrespect to the horse. His long brown manes blowing in the wind. We were like nomads, he and I drifting together. I'd meet up at the Equestrian Center in town Friday afternoon with a small group of girls. We had a lot more friends back then, though I realize now that these friendships were purposely shallow. We'd groom and ride horses, talk about horse things. Okay? She exhaled loudly. I'd been warned about George Van Linden. He owned the land on which the riding school was situated. Every kid knew a horror story about George. He hated children and was prone to the violent outbursts. Did he kill your horse? But the thing is, he never really had much to do with the riding school. It was run by an easygoing couple, and since we were teenagers by then, we had a lot of freedom to ride horses by ourselves. Okay. The one Friday was just me and my friend Anna. We rode the old bride levy around the island. It was a beautiful summer night. We could see dragonflies soar among the reeds and hear cicadas whisper. But on our way back, Potato faltered like due to a stone or a shot of glass stuck in his horseshoe. So I urged Anna to go without me as her parents held a strict curfew. And I stayed behind tending the potato wound hoof. I remember his patient warmth. He let me carefully remove the dirt and stones from his shoe. At that time, I felt that there was no one in the world who trusted me as much as he did. By the time we returned, it had grown late. It was dark outside, and the town was without sound. I returned Potato to his stable, applying a thick layer of ointment to his hoof to prevent infection. Okay. By now, warm tears fell steadily from Ina's cheek. And then I noticed a figure standing in the doorway. It was him. I froze. He didn't seem menacing at all this time, as though he were forcefully putting on a display of kindness. He told me it was getting late, that it would walk me home. Ina was quivering, pushing out word of burst of expiration. And I wanted to refuse. I did, but I was afraid to anger him, so I meekly allowed him to lead the way. My whole skill tingled and visibly relished to what was about to come next. But it was useless. Of course it was useless. We were barely outside when he grabbed me by the arm. Her voice spoke. He forced me, right there on the cold hard ground. He forced me. And Ina broke out in a flood of tears. I embraced her silently, knowing that there was nothing I could say that it would be any of significance. I showered for 2 days trying to wash his disgusting presence off me. Then I locked myself in the room for about a week as I mustered up enough courage to go to the police. But at the station they scolded me for not coming earlier, told me without any witness or traces of evidence there wasn't anything they could do. And they said that they should have known about George's reputation. Then I called my mother, who was on a tour in Australia, and she sounded so annoyed that I would even call her about something like this. I don't really believe she me at the time. Probably thought if I was ruse to make her come home. She took a deep breath. I completely gave up horse riding after that. I lost most of my friends as we no longer had any shared interests. And worst of all, I lost Potato. I still turn my head whenever I hear the sound of hoofs in town, just to see if I might be able to catch a glimpse of him. Do you understand now? Do you understand why it can only be George who committed that murder? Now you know what kind of miserable person I am. No. Just say it. I'm a despicable human being, the lowest kind possible. How can I call myself a journalist if I can't even be unbiased in my research? I don't deserve to be the editor-in-chief of anything. I deserve all that has happened to me. A decaying society breeds empty shells of human beings. Infantile, brutish, worn out. They think only in terms of dominance. Dominance by the strong, dominance over the meek. Any true yearning for liberty has been deceivably snuffed out. They remain grey like machines waiting to be used. We wander among the ruins of the greater age, only destined for despair. She sighed. I'm sorry, Abe. I have no right to force all this upon you. You must hate me. You must feel like I've been leading you on. And you have the right to be angry. I understand if you never want to see me again. Just tell me. Why? How the fuck could you say this? Nah, I'm actually curious. How is this a fucking choice? How is this a fucking choice? It may be better if it took a break. Who the fuck would say that? Who the fuck wanna say that? Nah, that ain't cool. This shouldn't be a choice. No, Ina, that's out of fucking question. We have a murder to catch, remember? Though her tears, I could see a thin smile appear. God damn. Oh shit, that was tough. That was not fun to read. I didn't like that. That night I stayed with her and we slept until the late afternoon. God damn. Nah, I don't know about this one. After we woke up, she accompanied me to the store, helped me pick out dinner, but she remained in despondent mood. Oh no. We made our way along to the pavement, Ina always lagging a few steps behind. Then she suddenly stopped. I turned around. Do you want to have children, Abe? Whoa, 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 whoa. You're way too early asking me that. That's way too early. Excuse me? Well, do you? Do you want to bring a new life into this decaying world? Could you even look them in the eye? What the fuck? I'm not ready to think about these things, girl. When a civilization enters a state of decline, it loses essential life force. That's when people stop caring about procreation. Having children becomes a fashion statement, something that no longer comes natural but has to be carefully measured out. At the apex of Roman Empire, scholars would publish long tracts about the immortality of procreation. She moaned. Okay. I couldn't imagine going through a childbirth. Having my body subjected to something so instinctive. Okay. That's cool, I guess. And as we walked further, a sticky, lukewarm perception began to rain down from the sky. This immediately caught Ina's attention. It's raining. She looked up at me. Yeah, it is. That's the first time in a very long time. A thin smile had appeared on her lips. We should head back home to get an umbrella. Oh, who cares about umbrellas? The rain is back. Can you smell nature's funeral bouquet? The fungi rotting leaves? It's invigorating. Maybe autumn will come after all. Come on, let's go home. I want to make a newspaper. Oh, cool. Well, let's do it. I thought we lost our funding. Oh, who cares about funding? Oh, that's cute. That night, the constant noise of torrential rain beating against the window. We worked on a big feature article. That's the most calming, relaxing, best sound ever. When you see rain hitting your window. I sleep so good those nights. Slowly we assembled to the puzzle pieces that we gathered over the last weeks. Ina was the best in mood I've ever seen since we broke into Cooper's office. But in the end, it turned out there was still a lot missing though. Too much to make up a convenient case. Fully exhausted, we turned in for the night. Okay. Next morning, Karen called to tell us what the Cooper faction had used their new gained political agency to obtain full executive control over the municipal water board, an unprecedented display of power. Though I couldn't fathom why such a bureaucratic victory was anything worth panicking about, Ina appeared highly alarmed to the whole situation. We're in trouble. If Cooper controls the water, he controls the entire town. There's a whole-scale goop going on, and we don't have enough free press to report it. I shrugged, put my clothes on. Where do you think you're going? To school? Unlike some, I still very much intend to graduate this year. We'll look into this later today. Humph. Please hurry back. Bro, shut up. I'm gonna graduate. I wanna be a graduate and get a job at a store. Ooh, what is happening? I showed up early heading down to the pool where I expected to find Rika. The swimming team had just dried up from their morning workout, its members gradually emerging to changing rooms. Who are you, Naomi? Excuse me, are you looking for someone? A bespectacled girl had approached me, clearly distruthful of my intentions. Yeah, Rika Cooper, is she still here? Trying to catch a glimpse of our star athlete? Well, I can inform you she hasn't shown up for practice since the weekend. I'm not sure what she's doing, but I suspect the coach is on a private training schedule. He has always played favorite. Oh, that's okay. Thank you. I'll go by her home. Please respect her privacy. Okay, you weirdo. It's raining. Just as the bell rang for the first term, I set off back towards town. The Cooper family resides in a large manse that was certainly situated in an affluent neighborhood. As I approached the gate, I felt a certain reluctance take a hold of me. I dreaded that Rika's father would answer the door, that he maybe recognized me from descriptions that had been passed around with the church. As the rain fell steadily, it occurred to me that it's been pouring instantly ever since yesterday afternoon, as though the heavens had some catching up to do to drought of the past weekends. Warnings had been coming into the radio about adverse consequences of heavy precipitation after a period of drought. The rain could erode the brittle soil, carrying away large amounts of earth through the waterways, eventually clogging the drainage system downstream. When we arrived at the residence, I encountered a miserable-looking Mei. Ooh, there she is. She's not home. She hasn't been home since Sunday. The maid said she was at swimming camp, but I know that isn't true. Rika told me she was leaving for the pumping station in Ruby, that she had some important maintenance work to do now that there was a chance of guard at the water board. I was afraid she'd gone with you, Abe, leaving me behind. This is the dumb girl, by the way, if you didn't remember. I'm glad to see you're looking for her, too. The pumping station? Did she tell you what she would be doing? Oh, no, she didn't, but she made it sound very important. Important and a bit mysterious. Then May smiled. Oh well, I have to hang around till she still returns. Let's go and explore. Granite becomes so beautiful in the rainy weather. I'm sorry, May, we have to do this another time. I have to get back to school before they notice I'm gone. Playing truant on a weekday? You're lost cause. Ooh, so that's the ending. Yeah, I have to say no to Rika about like when she tells me her devastating story. I actually have to tell her like, no, I need a break, and that's fucked. I have to do that to get May's ending. That's fucked. That's fucked. Not planning to return to school anytime soon, I went straight to Ina's house. The news of Rika's suspiciously behavior activated her immediately. Together we left for the station, hurriedly as our next train was about to leave. Oh, so we're tracking Rika now, okay. Okay. We took the train to Rebrew. Okay. After which I led Ina to the pumping station. This is it looks deserted. I felt the door which didn't budge. It's locked. Okay. It's still locked. You mean please get out of the way? After rummaging around in her handbag, Ina produced a small lock-picking set. Oh my god, what the fuck? And she got it open. God damn. 2 minutes later, we were inside. Quiet now. Rika could be lying in an ambush. I don't think there's anyone here. We searched the main floor of the deserted building, looking for signs of tampering, but to no avail. I'm going down to the basement where the pumps are. You stay up here to keep a lookout. If you see the front door open, just hide and call my phone. I nodded. As Ina descended the large spiritual staircase, I stayed behind watching the entrance with a hawk's eye. Up until now, Ina's excursion had felt like a game, a way to keep her overactive mind distracted from the myriad nurses that lay behind her hazel eyes. Okay, that's the weird noise again. Even the break in the church I felt like a senior prank to me, no worse than tricks we pulled back in high school. But now as I stood there waiting in the serpent moldy testament to 1950s water engineering, a creepy sensation began to hold hold of me. I hadn't expected I'd become so involved. Suddenly an intense pain shot through me. Did someone shoot me? What? So there you are. Glad to see you joined the cause. Rika was wielding a heavy leather-bound tome. She struck it at me again twice in a rapid succession. My vision began to ting, a blood red as it covered under the assault. I see you two have been playing detective again. I'm glad I stayed behind to keep an eye on things. Our church caretaker informed me about Ina's fine lock-picking skills. Rika, what are you doing? Don't kill me. God is jealous, the Lord avenges. What? The Lord's vengeance is furious. The Lord will take vengeance of his adversaries, and he reserves wrath for his enemies. Ayo, you need to chill. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not all quit the wicked. Then suddenly a furious voice rang out. Rika! Ida appeared from the stair and brandished a glass bottle that appeared to be clear liquid. Rika leapt back in the parent shop. Get away from him! Get away, I'll throw it! What is it anyway? What? I've seen your little setup down there. Is it acid to eat away the central pump? Stop shaking that bottle, you harlot! If you throw that, we'll all blow up. Ina remained exquisitely calm under the prospect. God damn, why are you doing this, Rika? Sabotaging the pumping station. What's the point? Oh, Ina, you're such an analytic mind. It's so sad we don't have school paper anymore for you to put these deductions into writing. Ina snarled. Mankind has become so arrogant. Like gods, they deem themselves creating land from water with their miserable pumps and drainage systems. What fun is it to manipulate water like that? Wouldn't it be a lot more natural to let everything follow its original course? The rain will continue to fall over next week and the waters will converge and become far too much for an old, inefficient pumping station to handle. A flood, a magnificent deluge will wash away these idle contraptions of man. Abbott will be an island again, a beautiful island in the midst of the stormy sea. Don't worry, the school is built on high ground. We may even let you relaunch the Sunday Abbott again, if you promise to stop publishing these hateful lies. You're insane, Rika. Centuries of inbreeding has taken their toll on your family. Oh, not at all. I have been authorized to perform this covered monitoring by the Abbotsford Water Board. It's all been ratified by the town council, but you should know all about. And suddenly, mid-sentence, Rika swung her Bible at Ina, who was caught up completely off guard. With a loud cry, Ina dropped to the glass vessel in the stairway, and it shattered. She had just enough time to dive in a direction before a loud explosion shocked the building and its foundations. Come on, Abe, run! She grabbed me by the hand, and as we made our way out of the front door, I could hear Rika's maniacal laughter behind us. Thanks, Ina. This is the kind of sabotage I can only have dreamt of. And to think that we have such a convenient scapegoat now. You're an asset to the cause. She's fucking crazy. She almost killed me with a Bible. God damn. As the train rode through the murky fields, we were witness to the first effects of a persistent rainfall, which was submitting the countless acres of arable land to rapid process of... Ina just made a phone call to the police to report the damage to the pumps. It's no use. They said they redirected our report to Minical Water Board. But the church controls the water board. They'll obstruct it all to force to restore the pumps. All that water is slowly seeping in. Just think about all the creatures that will drown. I can't believe they'll go this far. God damn. That's sad. At home, Ina remained restless, checking the news every other minute. Okay. The lower lying lands are flooding. Thousands are going to be displaced. The water reaches the city and the town's Abbotsford will remain dry due to its relative elevation. Thus ends the transit era of man. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Her lips curling the bittersweet smile. Oh, I don't know. Don't you think there's a certain poetry to it all? What you mean? The sea avenging itself on the civilization that's reached too far. I sighed. There was something in the cavern nonchalant which spoke the sentence that rubbed me the wrong way. Please stop, Ina. Lives are in danger. You can't just make light of the situation. Oh, wordlessly she walked over to the cabinet where a small CD player stood. She got a disc and placed it in front of the drawer. Please listen to this. It's the Credo from Victim Palace, composed by the Renaissance composer Giovanni Amicia. Music from a more vicious age. She threw herself on the bed. You know what it is, Abe? I can't think. I'm sorry, I'm worthless. What? I can't think. What is happening? I can only regenerate. She held silent for a moment, focusing intensely on the music as she was driving a sheltered comfort from warming sounds. Ina! Turn down the goddamn music! God damn! My thoughts are led along the transit path necessary by the logic of time. I cannot go inside the path. It's almost dutiful to laugh at the primitive melodies of the forefathers, but even grasp at the ideas that the future man might hold. I stared at her, not fully understanding the significance of her words. God damn, we uncovered the things, the demissivity of them. Such is the plight of the fully enlightened mind to shine a light in every dark corner of the modern world. Feels like I'm rapping. Do you believe in God or in the giant serpent? Before I could answer, she interrupted me. Of course not. Neither do I. That is so funny. Do you believe in God or a higher power? Before I could talk shit. No, of course you don't. To conjure up a myth to believe in gods surrounding to the childlike fancies has become entirely impossible to us. That's just because we're forced along the timeline of history to which all abstract the actions to the wishes to be taken seriously. We have to outlook the cynical seniles. We can no longer fathom your youthful brilliance that springs from such intense religious devotion. We can only wait bitterly till the end. She's crying again, what the fuck? You see, I don't really care. I don't care if Rika wins, if everything is swept away in a giant tidal wave. The world wouldn't be much worse of it, wouldn't it? Just look at the squalor, it stretches in every direction. Look at what civilization has become. And Ina had become visibly emotional. Okay, she's crying. Cultivated land reaches as far as the eye can see. We control every aspect of our world. We use every square inch with gallons of ammunition nitrate just so that Mother Earth can continue to bear the fruit from her barren womb. And we drench out each fruit in pesticle just in case the tiniest bug would dare to venture near it. I do that too. Nature shivers beneath the dominance of mankind, every aspect out of sync. Bee population decreases each year. Butterflies emerges from their cocoons prematurely, horribly deformed, tricked by the false onset of spring. And these crickets, these deafening crickets, I can hear them even here early in the morning. At the dead of night, their chilling death wail resound through my mind incessantly. It's the emphasis of argument and revolution. No corner of the world remains untouched. And just as social transformation goes further to change the people themselves, the world is dotted with large metropolis, filled to brim with farcical city dwellers. Their cynical traditions, religious, rational, clever, smug, and polite, and also highly contemptuous of the countryman. Oh my god, what are you talking about? At times, though, the citizens melt together, forming one large pulsating whole of limitless dysphobia. The urbanites consider the blemish on modernity that isolated spots of regular elegance can still exist. Place where life isn't governed by roasters and indicators and empathic reasons, but there are customs prevail that fundamentally anti-modern in nature. In the name of reason, they foster an irrational hatred of all that paradoxically is deemed irrational. I'm glad to see that there is still pockets of darkness left in this world. That I was wrong. There truly are entities hidden that world would drive the rational mind far beyond the brink of insanity. The modern world has become arrogant. It has uncovered the secrets of nature, of space, and it moves towards the future. Relentlessly ever forward, confidence believe that regression into a more primitive state is impossible. Oh my god! But can the civilization truly break free from the cosmic cycles of time? Can it truly keep moving forward without any, given the greatest of decline and fall of history? Bro, you need to chill with your thinking. You're overthinking too much. When it eventually happens, there will be a dark age upon us. Dark and more brutal than any percept in the Middle Age. Bro, Ina, you need to fucking chill. You're way too aggressive. First cultures are born. Then they blossom. Then they fall. No culture can escape the cycle of life no matter how frailty it reaches for the stars. And our civilization is about tumble even though it's arrogant to realize it yet. It's like a child just staring upon cosmic expanse, future infinity, not acknowledging that it's crumbling its foundation, that its children are dying from neglect and decency. Oh my god, Ina, can you please chill with the so depressing shit I've ever heard? Its head raised far too high among the stars which rolled soul-enchanting tones Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. These intoxicating tones. You know, many consider the classical symphony orchestra to be the highest manifestation of our culture. The way the instruments converge to form of harmonies that supplement. Oh my god, chill. This is the dialect of Father Spirit, condensing the four-movement symphony. You're crying even more. Oh. That reminds me, for my 18th birthday last July, my mother dedicated a concert to me. She arranged me to fly out to Sydney where she was touring at time with the Royal House of Totter Chore. It wasn't even a specially organized concert, just one that was a part of her tour. But at the beginning she acknowledged me in front of the audience. She had the chore humiliate me with a rendition of the birthday song. Who could have imagined the worst birthday? I was mortified, encumbered, jet-lagged. Even missed our printer's deadline due to the whole charade. Ina looked at me with a look of sheer agony in her eyes. And the thing is, as grandiose as the whole gesture was, it wasn't really about me. I was invisible in the crowd, all alone, looking up at my mother as she posed all in her majesty, elevated, distant, exhaled, as out of reach as ever. God damn. They performed this piece. This piece, my favorite. But how dare she try to interrupt something so pure? How dare she place the condemning hands on our expression of civilization youthful years? She can't pretend knowing the suffering in that world she wasn't even present for her own daughter in the very darkest time of her life. Chill, Ina. And now, the symphony has reached its final movement. Modern decay is having completely lost all intention on purpose. It's calling to be ethnized, to be shredded into fertilizer for younger, more richest cultures to come. Each feel vibrant young people to forego through in a pure, unlit experience. But for us, in the end of the road, we might just as well. I stopped her. Please shut the fuck up. Say, Ina, where do you keep Appendix Con document? She looked up at me glassy-eyed. It's on my desk, but why? Ina, if we give up now, we'll become just like the people you so despise. That's true. It's no use, Abe. Her voice sounded exasperated. It's no use. You need to understand it's not about the people. It's not like there's any honor left in anything. Okay. That's a bit weird to say. Oh, we're here. Oh. Quite the weather we're having. I've been dealing with reports of leaks and flooded basement this morning. I hate water. It gets everywhere. But I shouldn't complain. We're fortunate. You know, this town is situated higher than surrounding landscape. All the farmers have begun to evacuating their livestock. I think you brought the copies. Well, see, I had it in my brown paper envelope. I knew you kids would come to your senses. Politics is a game of give and take, you know. Sometimes you have to go against your beliefs, but it's the greater good that matters in the end. I hope you're right. I like you, Abe. I really do. You remind me of my son sometimes. He's just a bit older than you, studying romantic theater in the city. But unlike you, he has no sense of politics at all. With him, it's all Luffy principles, world peace, human rights, and whatnot. He doesn't realize that once you're in the political arena, your face marred with sweat and dust, that you sometimes take tough decisions to get your way. You're a much more worldly man than he is. You understand that no matter how good your intentions are, it's consequences that count in the end. Leopold was beginning to ramble. I had to cut him off. So you think you can also solve this mess, by the way? Any chance? It'll be tough. I need to pull some strings. Some crossbow strings, if you know what I mean. You know the current whereabouts of the Cooper girl. She's probably still in Rieber. Then you go there. Keep her busy. Make sure she doesn't leave. I'll meet you at the shore in a few hours. Just look at it. Beautiful Sanford house. The seat of my forefathers. I can't wait to walk through these halls again, restored to my rightful position as Lord of the Isle. Damn. So you have a big motive too to get this house. Okay. I get it. It took me a while to reach Rubery. Although the trains were still running, the station was packed with refugees who had been streaming onto the surrounding villages. The outbound train was completely empty. Okay. When we arrived at the shore, I encountered Rika staring endlessly at the turbulent water of the lake. And it was approached her that I grew aware of a strange murmur emerging from her throat. It was a natural guttural sound like any other human speech. As soon as she noticed me, she turned around and smiled, appearing on her lips. Ever since I was a child, I've dreamt of water. Our breathing water that permeates everything. Washing ashore, rinsing away the stench. I always hated that stench. The putrid pig excrement that the farmers throw in their fields. Hello, Rika. Oh, Abraham, I'm so glad you come to witness our moment of glorious retribution. Whoa. It's not an easy task to identify when Abbott's misery began. For so many centuries, the forces from outside have laid a war upon us, our traditions. Violent missionaries, greedy lords, they try to dominate the labor and idol of the Isle ever since their first ship appeared. And this subjugation was properly even after the world became enlightened. With drawing of the modern age, the domineering interest never faltered. No, exactly the opposite was the case. With emboldened zeal, this rational dissident men for us the last pocket of obscure, murky heritage within their modern world, and their system of violence became all the more methodical. Oh, there's a kraken behind you! How can civilization become so overconfident? Did demons have worded the meddle with God's creation? Becomes fundamentally their creation in every possible sense. How can you look up on such a society? That's going to poison the land and spews corruption from every orifice. Can you truly look up on such a world without any harboring the visual urge of its very oblivion? The malevolent glare had appeared in Rika's eyes. There's a fucking kraken behind you, girl. We are one when this forsaken isle, for our destinies are intertwined to such an extent that this one will entail our brothers act into murder. How often do they try to separate us? Through eviction, the corruptive land deals, but it's all vanity for abbots and in abyss reign more invincible. We would not leave our homestead behind, not in the darkest hour. Another lightning. The storm grew stronger, and through my squinted eyes it was so I could see a hypnotizing black ribbon winding its way through the furious wave. Yeah, it's the kraken. But now a new evil is upon us. Every century develops new schemes, new ploys to jeopardize our very existence. Oh Abraham, you have seen how it operates, how it attempts to demonize us through its wicked treacherous ways. Us, the original habits of this land, as though we don't have the first right to live here. We had waded through the tidings of darkness, wandering in all loneliness. So long we witnessed death encroach upon the isle, standing powerless against forces that seem far greater than ours. I want to protect our world. This world is too fragile. So much injustice has come our way for over the course of centuries, hell-bent on destroying that small flame, the hope that remains. But they're foolish. These enlightened men, for in their overbearing arrogance they miss certain monarch principles that are wholly unfathomable by the rational endeavors. There exist forces that are not easily silenced. The rest silent is impregnable depths of the endless sea, under the soil of the land reclaimed. These forces cannot banished by human acts, they cannot die. They lie silently in the wait, slowly build up the bitter resentment against humanity. Damn. Suddenly a loud voice boomed out over the shore. I stood in the sand of the sea. And I saw a beast rise up of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and his horns 10 crowns on his heads, a blasphemous name. I love that he is in the ending. I love that. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and great chain in his hand. He laid hold of the dragon, the old serpent, who is devil Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years. And he cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up, and set a seal on him, so that he deceived the nations more till the 1,000 years were finished. Leopold had appeared, the brown paper envelope clenched tightly in his fist. Well, well, old man, you've been reading scripture. I didn't know they kept Bibles in the type of hotels you frequent. A typical Cooper, always eager to cast the first stone. I'm here to put an end to your little scheme. I always knew your clan participated in degraded religion. That's why my family always tried to keep their distance from your demonic cult. And you should have kept it that way. There's no end on the terrors we'll unleash upon these lands. And you're able to first experience them, your pathetic excuse for a noble man. What a blessing it will be to have you cleansed of this earth. Oh, I read all about your little cult. He opened the envelope, revealing the pages within. A look of recognition flashes across Rika's eyes. For a second, she appeared to falter. You recognize this document? He recounts all the twisted dealings your church is involved in. 24 copies are with my people right now, ready to be sent out to my signal, the news outlet around the globe. Once the news get out, hordes of tourists will descend upon Abbotsford, all dying to catch a glimpse of the monster. People love a good horror story, especially one that features a pretty girl. Loch Ness will pale in comparison. Is that really what you want, Rika? If you're charged to become a cheap sideshow attraction? For a second, Rika appeared to be pondering his words, a doubtful glance residing in her eyes. But then a victorious grin returned. Do you really think that will stop me, old man? Look behind me! Things have been set in motion that are too great to be reverted. The pitiful era of man has come to an end. Then another much shriller voice rang out over the noise of the waves. It's over, Rika! Ta-dum! It was Eno standing defiant. Clearly she's at work after I left in the eye, systematic and meticulous fashion that I'd grown accustomed to. And so determined glowing in her eyes that I found attractive beyond measure. That's such a weird sentence. And I finally realized that I was now at the center of time-defying events. Here in this isolated storm washed ashore. Karen has made a full recovery. She reclaimed her chair in the town council and a merged coalition has been formed. All remaining parties have joined forces in order to regain control of the municipal water board. And there's more. The central government has declared a national emergency. Mobile pumping system is installed all around the embankment and digging crews are currently restoring the drainage canals to redirect the water to other pumping stations. The water level is already releasing. All land will be dry within a matter of days. Please give up, Rika. There's still a way out of this. But Rika had never seemed farther from giving up. All initial trepidation had tracelessly evaporated from her being, and her eyes shone the look of a feral beast packed into a corner. An expression of utter fanatic desperation of some fully reconnaissed with the prospector of death. You understand, Ina? If the pumps are restored, we'll just have to make a crack. How will you deal with a small, 7-mile long tear along the length of your embankment? Will your pumps truly be able to deal with the combined force of Earth's gravity? And then the lake erupted into roaring turmoil as the endless wire that coiled therein was preparing to strike. But I was almost too transfixed to notice that all of my attention was drawn by Rika's eyes. They were burning with a pure irrational madness. The extreme devotion of individuals that had fully taken the leap of faith that had now eternally departed from any conventional thought pattern. For a second that burning fire in the eyes appeared almost alluring, when suddenly, a white flash. Virus! The dog had appeared out of nowhere, running up to Rika to the surf, lodging its jaws firmly into the left thigh. Oh my god. Rika let out a loud shriek, immediately losing all of her former composure and collapsing to the ground, which was laying swingingly frantically out of a binding hound. But first wouldn't let go. Can you believe it, Rika? The dog must have sweat. What? The dog must have swam over 20 miles just to bite you? What the fuck? How much I'd give to be in its place. Whoa. And as Rika wails of agony resided on the radiant shore, I could sense the large being lake of the crowning quiet. As the line of communication with the high priestess had already been severed. And looking at Rika, she lay there, writhing in his pain, her thin summer dress drenched in brine of blood. I felt a right sense of pity, because somewhere in Ina's words had rang through with me. She was, in a sense, a dying breed. Let's get back to town. I think we're needed there. What? Why? It's okay, Furious, you can let go of her now. We don't want you developing a taste for human flesh. God damn. That dog, you swam 20 miles to bite her. God damn. As we left carrying Rika between the three of us, the lake gradually returned to its peaceful self. Oh shit. Okay. So that must be Ina's ending. That was Ina's ending, and now it's the epilogue. Damn, we got it. Ina's ending. That was a good ending. After a national state of emergency had been declared, extensive measures were undertaken to reclaim once again the portions that the land had been submerged by the flood. While the maintenance crew worked day and night to restore the 3 central pumps that had been damaged by the explosion, additional ditches were dug to divert access watering pumps, stationed to the north and east Abbotsford. Although the Deluge had displaced many civilians and livestock, the overall numbers of casualties remained limited, due to the gradual nature in which the flooding had occurred. The exact cause of the disaster was never disclosed by the government, but most comprehensive sources attributed the flood to a success of extreme weather patterns that had been insufficiently planned for. Damn. Sounds like a decent cover article. Let's publish it as soon as possible. Our subscriber count has been increasing again. I'm sad we never could write anything that old church inquiry. I feel like our readers deserve to know the truth. At least the school board has restrained our funding. Oh, definitely, increasing it even. But don't get any ideas, Abe. This envelope included your back pay for the previous month. Oh, finally I'm getting paid. I regret being unable to pay you earlier. However, you're probably aware money doesn't grow on trees. And the good news is your paper round will be shortened from now on. We have a new man on the delivery team. A new woman, actually. Mei is happy to do the work. And she doesn't even require reimbursement. I'll do more houses if you let me. Don't do it, Mei. Get out while you still can. Don't fall for this trap. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Ooh. No! Hi, I have the results of the original swimming championship. Please print them in your next issue. They should be fit for publication the way they are. Thanks, Rika. We'll definitely include them. Naomi must be happy with her medal. Now she'll have their chance to represent the province of art at nationals. Rika smiled a sad smile. I'm so sorry I couldn't compete with my leg wound and all. I have to keep it dry until the stitches come out. I hope you don't end up catching that hydrophobia they always talk about. Oh, she didn't like that joke. She hated that joke. After Rika left the office, Ina turned to me. Blaming on her leg wound, such a convenient excuse. I imagine she isn't ready to talk about the week she spent in involuntary commitment. Humph. Well, you can't blame her. In Orthodox religious communities, mental health issues can be heavily stigmatized. It must be hard on her to be talked out of town. The bell rang and May hurried out, muttering something incongruous about alabaster formations. Or something like that. As Ina and I gathered our bags, she shot me one last meaningful glance. And as I looked back into her burning eyes, I felt a warming comfort expand through my chest, reassuring me that no matter what the coming century had in store for us, be it in the crumbling of biosphere, the degradation of mankind, or even the entire downfall of civilization, there was no more capable of chronicling the decline that the brown-haired girl standing before me couldn't do, or couldn't. Yeah, okay. Damn. Ending 1, baby! Oh my god, that took longer than expected. To be continued. Yeah. That was longer than I thought. And I think this game is to be continued as well. This isn't the full release. Thank you for playing the updated. Yeah, I know. I read this before. Thoughts I have already given them. For credits, please check out section. Yeah, I'll do. You have currently unlocked the ending routes for Ina and Rika. You can play remaining ending routes by save file or by returning to part 4. Let's return to part 4, I guess. Okay, next ending. No, fuck off. Next ending, I think, is Mei. And I think to get that, we have to ignore her when she tells me about the bad thing that happened to her. Or it could be... Ooh, where could it be? Or it could be here. Like, we don't go anymore in the paper. I think it's that one. I think it's that when you tell her, like, okay, we need to break from the paper. And then I go and... Yeah. Yeah, I think it's that. We'll just check. Overwrite. No! Load. I don't care, yeah. What if that you truly want? Okay, don't be sad. We tried our hardest. Yeah, okay. Never story can become a headline. Nah, no. Let's go. Let me leave. I need to be alone right now. Yeah, me too. Let me go. That's it. Hope we find Mei and can do her ending. Okay. 3 more months, then I'm done with it all. I've never been much of an honor student, but recently I changed my ways. Each day after school I studied 2 hours. Wait. Is this the alone ending? Berlin, even the US, each man among lays his own destiny. I can remain in a small Abbotsford now scared of the modern world. Or just try to spread my wings to the greater skies. Wait, is this the alone ending? I don't remember. I don't really mind studying it to help divide my thoughts, away from the unrest of the violence, the local nonsense surrounding. I think this is the alone ending. And then I'm done. I think this is the alone ending. I think we fucked it. Yep, this is the alone ending. Isn't it? Yeah, it's the alone ending. Okay, let's try this one. No, not overwrite anything. Load that save. Okay, it may be better if we took a break. Hey, I'm sorry, I really enjoyed the time we spent together. Understand, blah 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 blah. Wait, what did you say? What did you say? I understand that you need space, and I promise I'll make amends. But please, could you give me one last chance? Oh, I hate this. Why can't? Okay, I'm just gonna. No, I hate this. I understand. I hate this. I fucking hate this. If this is how to get Mei ending, I am fucking out of here. No! 3 months, then I'm done with all. Wait. How do I get Mei's ending? Okay, I'm just gonna have to go to... Fuck. Where do I get Mei's ending? I can't seem to find Mei's ending. And I try to search it up, go on a few sources. but there's so little on this game out in the internet, so I couldn't find anyone doing Mei's Ending either. So I'm just gonna send a mail to the developer, hopefully he'll answer, and yeah, I'll get back to it if I get an answer. But let's just do Rika's ending then and see how that plays out. So let's load and let's get ready for the last ending we're gonna see this episode. Do you trust me? I trust you, Rika. I'm so happy, Abe. Yeah, okay. So Chris, I don't like this girl, as you can tell. Come on, we have no time to lose. There are so many things I want to show you. Oh no. I hate this already. Okay, if you didn't catch it, I'm now on Rika's side, not Ina's side. And there should be an ending with Mei too, I think, but I can't really seem to... And I can't think, like, all in chapter 4, like they said, go back to chapter 4 and try something new. I can't remember. The only time I met Mei was out of Rika's house when they told me in Ina's ending. And that was right before she told me a sad story. And I tried the both times that I'd rejected Ina, and she still just sent me to the alone ending. Which is really weird. It's really weird, but I'll see. In a swift moment, the practiced manner, Rika changed the bedding in that room that we had occupied while giving my best shot at vacuuming the carpet. Okay. After that, she took me by land, heading me along the road that led to town. And as we ran, the glowing warmth of midday summer of Rika's sweet, invigorating fragrance made it real first day of spring. Oh, once beautiful Abbot, to see what they have done to you. The quaint streets and fishermen household have been replaced with drivers and perfect mansions. I think that this place was once alive, the sea of fishwives, the sound of rolling waves, the fresh sea air. All the toil and suffering to think that it was all for naught. I truly long for the day when everything returns to how it once was. Okay. Look at this one, drainage canal I told you about. Though the Mashfall doesn't appear so different from the mainland at first sight, it relies on a highly sophisticated apparatus to keep it from sinking back into the sea. Via these ditches, all the recent water and rain falls towards the rear pumping station for a discharge into the lake. I felt a drop on my right hand. The skies had become clouded and upwards tension hung in the air, so the great thunderstorm could erupt any second. I think it's about to start raining. It is, isn't it? Well, that's formidable. Everything proceeded as planned. It hasn't rained for weeks, you know, and the farmer were beginning to complain. That's good that it's raining then. Okay, maybe if they had prayed more, they wouldn't be so prone to irregular water. How do you know if they pray or not? This is so dumb. You're dumb, she giggled. That's why they say in the past, among fisher when storm plagued the isle. If only they had prayed more. But they found out soon enough that God no longer listened to their prayers. God had become an intellectual God, sitting safely in his heaven like a constant watchmaker. He no longer dealt with our everyday qualms, engaging only abstract theorism. Good and evil, eternal salvation, the God of the new covenant was tied up with the matters that stood so far from the day-to-day lives. It's very different from Noah's time, when God still interacted with his people, when God was still responsible to sacrifice. Noah built an altar. I know about Noah. When the Lord smelled the sweet savor in his heart, I will never again curse the land of inflict evil from youth, nor will I smite things ever again, as I've said done. This was the Paul Abad needed, a deity who stood close by us, the rewarded of devotion, safeguarding us from harm and misfortune. When you're cut the boat, putting your life at risk in the open sea, braving the elements, you need power close by. I was overcome by an unsettling sensation. Did the people of Abbott turn away from God? How dare you suggest such a thing? We are good Christians. You know that? We do as the Bible says. For the Lord is good and greatly to be praised. He is to be feared above all gods. Even the 10 Commandments teaches us. Gallant, Seldris, Esterosa, all these peeps. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Remain first and foremost to devote the Lord, consulting him for metaphysical matters. For there is no other god as powerful as he. There's a realm beneath the waves. I'll wait to show you. Okay. Although first need to collect some things. What do you need to collect? Okay, we are going apparently. She led me to the Ish's building where the church warden seemed stunned to show me in good grace with Cooper's daughter. Okay. We entered the annex and down the downstairs in the basement where Ina and I had carried out a covert operation. Leaving me out in the hallway, Rika slipped into the room that was adjacent to John's office, the one from which we had heard the mysterious gurgling sound. The nurse was entirely absent now, and whatever I could see of the interior room has appeared in sterile, almost like a laboratory. Rika exited the room, holding the 3 glass bottles that was filled with clear liquid. She put them into a bag, which she handed to me. That's holy water. I implore you to do a gentleman's duty. I took it without complaints. What do you mean, gentleman's duty? Let's head for the station. There's a train leaving in 10 minutes. Okay, what are we doing? I guess that's holy water. I'm just guessing. Or it's our pee. During the train raid, the rain outside swelled into torrential downpour. And here comes the long text. River Beach, do you expect to be back so soon? Darkened washes wave over the shore where lukewarm water trashed down into the buckets from Gallon sky. I could feel sand and surf lashing against my exposed flesh. Rika, however, appeared unnaturally calm under extreme weather conditions. The windows of heaven have opened. Okay. Everything is coming together right now. Oh, you're a bit weird, aren't you? Here we begin. A large high pressure area has been building up the last months. Temperature, weather patterns, and not even the peeps had noticed though. Not even after Ina wrote an article on it. Fortunately, it wasn't so cold, but they're penetrating my clothes. Although I admire Rika's sturdy condition of privately long, consoling comfort at the Stanford house. Since today a high pressure area has only begin shifting, it'll soon give stationary front to form directly over Abbott. Isn't it mysterious how this miraculous phenomenon occur? A stationary front like it persists for months, hanging in the perfect stasis and causing all kinds of extreme weather effects. For 40 days and 40 nights it will rain, a perfect deluge will cover the land. The window of heaven have opened. The highest shed his countless tears for fate of beloved isle. A large wave swept up the beach, drenching my already wet shoes. Come on, there'll be plenty of chances to soak up the rain. Let's go inside. Okay. This is weird. I don't like this. This is very weird. Okay, now we're in here, apparently. A soft rumble emitted from the machine room below. Hello. Listen, the pumps are running at full capacity, but with so much rainfall, it's almost like carrying water to the sea. I wonder how much longer they will hold. Mankind has always worked so hard. Look at all this built. Creating land out of sea. You wouldn't imagine such a thing to survive. But humanity builds with clever contraptions and pumping stations to keep the water out. Creating land out of sea. And God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place. Let the dry land appear. And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and gathering together what we'll call seas. But isn't it inconvenient to have seas when humanity needs fertile farmland to devour? Let's take that uses unpredictable water and subject it to arrogant, profane ways of man. You're really dumb, aren't you? I wonder how clever these contraptions really are. She shifted into a more casual tone of voice. Thank you. That second word isn't a calming tone or a normal tone. A superintendent comes by to inspect the pump several times a week. If we were to outright sabotage the machinery, he'd be notified immediately. Even a slight fall in the RPM would cause summon a repair crew. Therefore, we must leave the machine to himself untouched. Nevertheless, to effectively slow down the pumping capacity we need can limit it throughout the water. Someday, blocking the pump is natural to occur, and due to frequent blocking and unblocking of the pipes, the through output of water isn't monitored as strictly as an RPM. If the superintendent notices that the throw pin is down, he will likely attempt to remove any mud and branches blocking the pipes, thus causing water to rise again. However, if we systematically limit the flow by the 20%, it will take him weeks to notice the root cause. With amounts of the rainfall that are predicted as more than enough time, once the soil is saturated with water, there will be no stopping the flood. Am I really in on this flood thing? Now I'm with her. Now I'm like, oh, let's flood the whole fucking town. I was so unprepared for this unexpected outpour technical detail that I was reminded unaware of the ominous implication it is spelled. Okay. She opened my bag and produced 3 glass bottles, each containing a colorless liquid. We have to be careful now. The particle acid inside this bottle is known to be highly volatile. Oh, it's the acid, okay. Hey, I've been carrying these things for the past hour. Ooh. This building houses 3 large central pumps. I will install these bottles to slowly release their contents into the suction side of the installation, giving the water let's lead through the pump's highly corrosive properties. At this pressure with the water was pumped through the machines, the acid will gradually eat away at the metal, wearing at the prevent backflow of water, thus creating a tiny clearance. An installation like this, a clearance of even the fraction of a millimeter will significantly decrease the pump efficiency. It will be likely years of wear, all happening with the span of one night. No one will spuck the rings until it's too late. And replacing the rings is a completed process that will cause further days of downtime. Please hold guard here while I head down to the basement to install the bottles. If anyone shows up, you'll have to tell them what they were using the place for a romantic encounter. Okay. That's weird. I would just say that you're weird and you have to leave. As the rain continues, they shelter at the pumping station, letting our clothes dry on the warm exterior of the engines. Sounds dangerous, really. Towards the late afternoon, the storm subsided a little and under a reveal of purple drizzle that instantly undid drying of our clothes. We returned to the shore. Ooh. Isn't the water beautiful? You should know there's a whole world beneath the waves. Our realm uncharted by mankind. She looked me straight in the eyes. I know you like me, Abe. Oh, shit. If that's what you think, you're fucking wrong. I'm just saying. I nodded. Huh, yeah. This thing is what you want to understand me. To really understand me, I want you to like me, even if everything you've previously known about me turned out to be untrue. I can't like you, you're weird. She cast her attention back towards the water. As she stared into the sea, she seemed entirely unresponsive, though after a while I noticed a low whisper emanating from her mouth. It was a deep throaty sound, barely discernible, and thought I naturally mistook it for long, drawn out by the cough. There was something deliberate in this phrasing that made it sound undeniably speech-like. Rika was casting a spell upon the former sea. She stood there what felt like an eternity before suddenly coming back to life. Rika, it's okay. A sense of relief shone through her tired whispers. Tomorrow we'll head back to the pumping house to retrieve the bottles. Come on, let's go in. It's growing late. I was about to say something. It's okay, Abe. Our work for here is done. Reinforcements are underway. I just turned out to follow her in the corner of my eye. I could detect a sudden tremors. Surface of the lake. Yeah, the Kraken. The fucking Kraken. Okay. Rika went out to buy some fish cakes. Oh, ew. At the cafeteria, and we sat together in a hotel room eating them in silence, as the rain pattered reassuringly against the window panes. I was still numb under a spell of illicit act I was just casually committed. The events of the past days felt like monumental to me, as though I was living in biblical times. Notwithstanding our humble surroundings, I truly felt that the movements of action at the time were embodied in a new grandeur. And the natural self-confidence which Rika spurned to me these deeds made me feel even more attracted to her. No. She had changed from so much uptight church girl that intruded herself to me no more than a month ago. I could truly tell that it was her in her element. It made me want to see it through with her, to the very end. We will, I promise. After we finished our meal, she turned to me. What's up, Rika? I see such a wonderful future for the two of us. Shut the fuck up. We could become the town's foremost couple once we've been rid of all unwanted elements. You have to take on my surname, which isn't exactly tradition in our community. Though as much of a man you surely mustn't mind. You will take my fucking surname, Rika. We talked about this. Abraham and Hendrika Cooper. I like the way it sounds. There's a certain ring to it. How does she, like, I don't know, like, how could you just, like, straight up tell me that we're getting married? That's a bit far, you know. But I'm sure our unification will be executed fruitfully. Abe, these ties with our family to go back longer than you may have aware of. In Abbott we found the hard way that it was necessary to have a firm grasp on national politics in order to preserve as a community. Your father was one of our most loyal allies, unscrupulous and loyal. He would do anything for the right price, lobby, pressure, bribe. I'm so sorry I had to take a fall. I heard it messed up his reputation for good. But we were happy to provide his family with a rent-free place to live. Even on Abbott there's plenty of use for his talent of pursuing. I heard Karen will be out of hospital soon. The waiting for the last words didn't truly sink in. I was still busy working over previous remarks in my head. Yeah, like, what the fuck, you dissing my father? I was never really sure what kind of work my father did. He referred to himself as a consultant or a businessman, but was kept in the dark about his day-to-day activities. We were wealthy, had a nice house close to the beach. I could have any materials needs before we came here. Then the headlines appeared, sweeping accusations of corruption, suggesting ties to the notorious figure in the underworld. My entire world unraveled. Classmates would call after me, yelling that my dad was served for mafia, and my mother moved out to stay with her sister Marin for a while. I asked my father what was going on, but he explained it all away, saying there was just an unfortunate sequence of misunderstandings. His reputation would soon be cleared. We simply have to escape from the limelight for a while. That's when the device plan was to move to Abbotsford. In a sense, I was comforted by Rika's praise of his character, although I wonder in the back of my mind if there wasn't any truth to the allegations. I figured that my father had done work for the church. Okay. It hadn't been all for nothing. This legacy wouldn't wholly tarnished. Tarnished? Rika? What is it? I have one more question about the church document. I was expecting that. I mean, you've been hinting at things. It makes me wonder how much of Thomas Backer's account was truly a fabrication. Oh, Abe. You're right, I may as well come clean. I am Jesus. You should know, they've always been with us. What? The relationship with Foster with them may wax or wane depending on time, but they never disappear. Like something hidden in the corner of your eye. Ooh, don't tell me that I get scared. During early Middle Ages, before Low Countries were Christian, we worshipped them like deities. There was a fertile magic that sprang from the sea. But after missionaries came and forced us to accept Christ as one of our gods, our only god, our address to them was forced underground. The more Christianity came to dominate the land, the less people performed the ancient rites, and our distance to them grew. We could no longer communicate out in the open, although they still played a significant role in our lives, like remnants of an innocent folk belief. We thanked them whenever the catch was bountiful, or scorned them when a ship was lost. This wasn't just an ordinary superstition, for in secret they continued to accept our praise and sacrifices. Okay. Well, the world and the waves is enormous. It encompasses far more than the ordinary mind could fathom. All of human civilization equates to more than a thing of dusting mold on earth in comparison to the gargantuan edifice that it brought forth. Okay, I understood all of that. During the 17th century, the Low Countries became a place of unparalleled religious freedom. It wasn't difficult to back up polytheistic. Oh my god, you talk too much. And as bonds between our world grew stronger, we began to reforge our old alliances. It wasn't until 1856 when the Inquisitor came by. There came a pushback from the Central Church. We never cast out, and our realm was cut from the mainstream society. But to be honest, that suited us quite well. We don't require the primitive distractions of modernity. The bottom of the ocean is the darkest region of space, only dimly illuminated by countless lunar that drift and omnipresent. God damn, you talk! Wind is the only tiny fraction of expanse below could drive unlegitimate mind beyond the brink of insanity. And it permeates it all. Without beginning and without end, it coils through immeasurable depths of traversing impenetrable darkness. Damn, you talk! We crept into bed. I thought as I fatigued from the day's events, my head was far too preoccupied to fully come to rest. Girl, you need to stop talking. A storm swept through my mind. A storm swept through my mind, a limitless gyre of coursing waves that stretched out in the crevice of my soul. It felt like 1,000 lifetimes drifted by as the blanket of darkness shrouded us. Even after I drifted into sleep, it wasn't long before I was wide awake again. Okay. The moon was black, my senses dull. All that came to me was her odor, that sweet scent of her youthful firmness laying thick on my nostrils, my taste buds surrounding and indulging me. And I felt ensnared in the pitch black, as though her hair had grown inconvenient lengths extending into each and every nook and cranny of the room, stuffing every orifice of suffocating me. What the fuck is this weird ass shit? We stayed in bed until early afternoon before leaving for this pumping station. Rika had calculated that the acid must have dispersed by now, that enough damage had been done to internals of the machinery to account for a notable decrease in throughput. We now disposed all the evidence of our sabotage. Like before, Rika descended to the spiral staircase where I stayed on the lookout for prying eyes. I must confess I wasn't at my sharpest. It hadn't been restless night for me, and due to Rika's demanding presence, I had been able to catch up sleep in the morning. Safe to say I wasn't at my most vigilant. Oh my god! Abe! I knew you two were up to something! Tell me, where is Rika? You need to tell me right now, Abe! Hey, you've been gone for 2 nights! Ina, how do you even get in? How do you think there's a lock that I can't open? It was child's play. You should probably leave. Leave? No, Abe, I have it all figured out. The murder, the attacking Karen Boris, the church was behind it all. I knew that from the fucking beginning. And now Rika's trying to disrupt part of the mansion water management system. This is an act of dumbest terrorism, Abe. You could go to prison for this. Suddenly a loud crash resounded through the building, reassuring of the bare walls and medical machinery, and the glass ball that connected with Ina's pale cheekbone shattering on impact, sending shots flying in every direction. Ina, what brings you here? Nah, I don't recall sending out a press release. It was Rika who had reappeared from the basement holding another bottle, casually in her right hand. Ina stood eventually, clearing in agony from below, holding the banister to prevent herself from collapsing. Your little paper has served us excellently. We only have to send you anonymous messages, and you publish them without a question asked. However, I feel like you have used this had come to an end. She just fucking beat her in the head and then was like, hey, how are you? That's not true. Though Ina's voice was weakened, it still contained a tone of dignified conviction. The Sunday Abbot always checks its sources. Check their sources, you must mean. Didn't you receive a notification that school board ended your funding? Ina started at her confidently. No. Abe, look at her! This is madness in her eyes. Centuries of inbreeding must have taken their toll, oh my god. But when I looked at Rika, I saw no madness. I saw only glory. God damn, I'm dumb. Ina sunk down quivering. I could see a thin trickle of blood running through the side of her neck. Abe, please. It's so all irrational. Come, Abe, I believe we should leave Miss Mengelberg to her own devices. As I followed Rika to the shore, I sustained a current at a pitch of surge through my physique, electrifying a nerve. Can you hear the roaring waves? Can you hear the sound almost like wailing dire? They're singing their elegy of Abbott's faith, a century of scorn of humiliation. Ooh, there's the Kraken again! Rika stood defiant over her bare feet planted in the shore like sand, her face twisted in an expression of utterly ecstasy, holding interest with her pedigree. It's no easy task to identify the point when our misery began. For so many centuries the forces of us have waged upon our people, our traditions. Why is it impossible for interior powers to simply let us be? To leave us to our own devices, your only beliefs in patterns of meaning. But no, violent missionaries, greedy lords, they intrude upon the world in spiritual life of Isle. Ever since the first ships appeared, forced us to submit their dominant models of industry until they had extracted every last morsel. Because of these men, these heroes of Malkuth that exist enough into itself, and is all instrumental for the advancement of their empire, left us barren, delicate economically and mentally. And even as the world became enlightened with the drawing of the modern age, their domineering interference never faltered. Nor the exact opposite was true. With embodied seal, these rational men came for us, this last pocket of life and culture, within the wasteland of modern world. But their system of superstition had become all the more mythological, cutting off us from the mainland society and from our beloved sea. How can civilization become so overconfident? The demons are worthy to meddle with God's creation in a way that's become fundamentally degrading in every sense. How can you look up on this poison the land and bread? I have read this before. How can you look? I read this before. I read this in another ending. Yeah, you have to see this first. Confidence, she was a massive crowd, even though only present was himself and quivering, deathly pale Ina. Female form, charisma. Oh, I have not read this. The indulged beauty of her female form, charisma, preachly of eloquence which is spoken in ember verse, captured me wholeheartedly. But you, Abraham, you belong among us. Already you have aided our people so well, even though you have only resided in our midst for a brief period of time. Ooh, maybe I should have told you sooner, but this morning I was awakened by a tillant nausea. I feel our destinies have already fused. That will not be long before I bear your fruit. Hey, yo, do not bear my fruit. We are one, we in the Forsaken Isle, for our destinies are inverted with such an extent that this entwinement would be a producer akin to murder. How often have they tried to separate us? Through eviction, through Corvus land deals, yet abbots and inhabitants remain one, invincible. We will not leave our homestead behind, not even in the darkest hour. Crazy girl. And yet again is new evil upon us. Every century's malice grows, developing new schemes, new ploys to jeopardize our very existence. Oh Abraham, have you seen how they operate? They attempts to demonetize through the wicked and treacherous ways. Us the original inhabitants of this isle, as though we do not have the first right to live here. We had waded through the waves of darkness. I've read this. For so long we have witnessed death in Christ. Read this too. So much injustice I came away. Read this too. I want to protect this world. It's so fragile. Okay. How foolish they are. The enlightened men, for in their overbearing arrogance, principle are wholly unfathomable for their rational endeavors. The existing forces are not so easily silenced. That quiet handily imprint the depths of the endless sea, and under the soil of the land they reclaim. These measures they cannot die. I read a lot of this before. They lie silently wait, slowly building up bitter resentment against the humans that will bury them, waiting for a moment to strike. Duh. At the moment of great thunder, cracked the sky and the waves swelled into tornado. When I was little, the waters of the lake would ripple whenever I came near. They say I have a special bond with those that live below, a special bond that I have back to my great-great-great-grandmother after I warm was in his name. I envoy the resting powers, only I can restore them to former glory. Can you smell it, Abraham? The hint of brine in the air. It arousing my nostrils, exciting me through and through. Oh, Abraham, these sensations that are currently thrashing through my body are impossible to describe. For I realize that even currently as we speak, salt water is slowly flowing into the lake again. The great purification must be committed as planned. Elmo. The intensity of the storm increased, and though it was difficult for my eyes to see among the waves that were rolling with unmatched fever, I swore I could discern a glistering black ribbon through the waters. And that ribbon, that hypnotizing serpent shape, was just limited to one location. Is no undying air recoiling from her fill of the sea before me, maybe thousands of seas beyond. Finally, we'll be able to break through our veil of despair and become once again the proud people we were. I believe our fate justice is finally ready to embark into a brand new future. One flood will come, a powerful, all-encompassing deluge that will sweep away every morsel of this wicked land. I've read that too. Rise high, Lothan, eel without end, who calls through the immeasurable depths, who makes the waters churn. The time has finally come to brandish our courage to reclaim each of every inch of made land, once and for all. The grapes of wrath have fully ripened, the vines bring forth exotic fruit. Rise high, Lothan, eel without end, let's proclaim the new gospel of revenant hope. Let us build a safe world that's illuminated in shining light of our shared righteousness. Come on, Abe, to the ark. What? You have built an ark? Don't tell me you fucking built an ark. Please do not kill me. Please do not kill me. Epilogue! Woo! We made it. We made it. And 40 days and 40 nights the waters of heaven rained down upon earth. An unstoppable flood stretched out from the lake, taking down houses and villages in its wake. And even after the rains dried up, the waters remained upon the land of the further 140 days and many more days after that. And from the waters emerged an abomination more horrid than the world had ever known, for they came for a realm of unspeakable death. Being these an adventure upon the land, for the sea is theirs, just as the land is ours. And among these washing waters, Abbot arose in the isle more and more lonely defined as it had always been. And Abbot was spared by the great flood due to an unbreakable bond that existed between the people and the lords of the deep. Okay. But what happened after that? 1 month later, after the afternoon observance, we headed up to the office to discuss next week's publication. Welcome to the second positive staff meeting of the restored Sunday Abbot. No! She actually opened the newspaper with her like the leader. Oh, that's fucked. That's fucked. Vice Editor-in-Chief Ina will please introduce the agenda for today. Oh, she is there. Oh, she looks crazy. There's not much to discuss. Our cover article and remodeling of the Isles building should be available for review tomorrow. Oh, and your father is late in submitting his copy for the letter from Ranger of per article. Please ask him to hand it in or we'll go press without it. Rika giggled playfully. Please let me be the judge on that. Anyway, I have to go now. I promised to pick up the road to School of Service to the capital at 6. She has gone insane, apparently. Ina left the room. I could hear the introvert murmuring. The recent changing of the guard at Sunday Abbot has clearly taken its toll on her. Ina, she's a stubborn one. How do you think she's reacting to the change? I think she's dying inside. She's probably cried a lot. She seems determined to make the school paper a success. She has died inside, I'm pretty sure. We embarked into the midday streets in previous to drizzling rain that endured perfectly as though existence since then. And I imagine it could sustain for 1,000 years more, indefinitely endless bounds of the future. I felt as I looked into Rika's eyes more blessed than I ever had. Hello. And there you have it. That was Rika's ending. I'm pretty certain. That was much shorter. Like 10 minutes shorter, I think. Yeah. God damn. Why is Mei there? Mei is in the fucking... Thank you for playing. Love to hear. I've already gone through this 2 times. Let's return to part 4, but not really do that, because I don't fuck with that. Let's go to the main menu. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay. That was Deluge. Threnody of Crashing Waves, all endings I could find. I did Rika's ending. I did... Ina's ending, and Alone ending was in the last episode, so you can see that. But yeah, I don't know how to get Mei's ending. If there even is an ending for Mei. If there is, I will find out. I will certainly find out if there's an ending for Mei. I would doubt it though. Okay. Sorry, I am dumb. I found Mei's ending. This may seem strange, but I actually found Mei's ending. It was just hidden, and my dumbass thought there was no ending. I found it. So you dropped a charade with her. And by the way, I had to install the Steam version to find this. It wasn't in itch.io's version, but here. Pushing the mystifying encounter with Rika back to my mind, I set off homeward through the sunlit street which were alive with gentle chirping of birds. Until I detected a suspicious movement in the bushes. Reflexively, I adopted a defensive position and throwing up my arms to shield my vital organs. And while I observed the figure that emerged from the shrubs, I rated myself to flee the scene as soon as the situation necessitated it. But the hound made an unusual calm impression. Entirely devoid of the aggressive behavior I previously grown accustomed to, he started with pleading his eyes. Not intending to lower my guard, I slowly edged backwards. Goodbye, doggy. Just stay here. There's no need to get physical with me. That's the dog of the Karen girl. When Furious saw me back away, he immediately leapt up to me, playfully sniffing my fingers before laying down and showed a loud bark. Almost jumped out of my skin. Eagerly he hopped down again, dashing back through the bushes when she came. Upon closer inspection, he saw the game a forest trail. Furious let another bark. You want me to follow you? Again a bark. So I'm following the dog. I must remain wary. He could attempt to lead me to a secondary location where no one will find my multiple corpse. But Furious was already running up to the forest trail yards, before turning and barking me to follow him, driven by curiosity. Furious led me along to the old perimeter of the island, past Dolmen Mei had shown me last week, and through the nearby woodland, until we reached a patch of the forest with trees bare to the ground were strewn with rocks. In the center stood a large headstone. Okay. Furious! You brought him here so quickly. What? Ooh, the voice belonged to Mei, who was standing among the trees dressed in arcane-looking clothes. Furious appeared exceeding, leaping up to me expectantly. Poor dog, he's all worked up. I told him it was an emergency. That if he's a fetch you, surely give him a treat. You did bring him something, didn't you? I didn't bring him shit. You made an empty promise. Furious whined disappointment. I saw him his prior hostility return to his eyes. You could offer him a peppermint. My suggestion was met with an angry snarl. Please don't be sad, Furious. You did great. I'll get you a marrow bone when we return to the farm. So what is the big emergency you called me for? She contemplated for a second. Oh yes, the emergency. It's a secret, she smiled self-consciously. Okay. Well, it's a secret emergency. I don't see how it could be any help. Wait, I can tell you the secret. Again she pondered. This is a secret. My secret hideout. Nobody knows about that hidden clearance. I highly doubt that. It's true. You didn't know about it, did you? There's a lot of things I don't know about. She pouted. I didn't even want to show you at first, but I decided I had to repay you. Repay me for what? For taking me to the beach. Hadn't been down there since the childhood. The church is really strict, you know. Even when Rika goes for shopping trips in the city, she hardly lets me come. So it's true you never leave the island. Not an island, I thought I told you so. You're beginning to sound like Rika. But you're right, that was my first trip in years. Anyway, there are enough pretty spots nearby. What do you think of this place? The forest floor is littered with rocks. Do you know why? I shook my head, I don't know. Well, I know, okay. She grinned triumphantly. The soil around this town is filled with all kinds of different stones, which has to be removed turned into suitable farmland. So for hundreds of years, farmers have dumped their unnecessary stones up in here in the woods. It makes for a pretty sight, doesn't it? Like a castle hall. My castle hall. Bow to your queen, loyal subject. I didn't know we were role-playing. It was clear excitement had risen to her head. You should know they crown me Queen of Abbotsford every spring. You like my royal attire. As long as you're in my halls, you have to do exactly as I say. Okay, that goes without question. She pointed at the large gravestone behind her. There, the tomb of my forefathers. Their names are etched into the stone. Please tell me who lied buried here. Let me take a careful look. I crouched down to inspect the faded effigy. It says this is a memorial saint for Winford, the missionary who Christianized the Low Countries. In the year 700 AD, Winford was murdered by Germanic tribes on this site. That's all it says. Thank you. I always thought as much, but I wanted to be certain. Poor Winfred, the tribe must not have liked his teachings at the time. I guess in the end, he did get his way. I glanced around the clearance. The trees are here with leaves, as though they had died a long time ago. They're auspiciously adding to conscious atmosphere to the place. And while I strained my eyes to make out surroundings, I grew aware of a steady fatigue that had been creeping up on me unnoticeably. The trees melded together in the swath of both grey. After I caught my balance, I turned to Mei. I had an eventful weekend. I'd like to go home now to get some rest before school starts. You're leaving already? Come on, Mei, please stay for a little longer. I command you as your queen. I'm sorry. She squinted at me tellingly. But Abe, if you leave now, you won't find out my secret. I thought you told me this place was your secret. This isn't a real secret. You said so yourself. She giggled playfully. Oh, she's gonna kill me. So do you want to know? I won't ask you again. I'm sure curious to find out. Thank you, Abe. I knew you'd be willing to listen. But I have to admit, you look tired. Please come and visit me tomorrow evening, then I'll reveal your secret to you. But you have to promise you won't tell anybody else. Oh, I promise. I dropped May off at the farm on the way home back to town. Don't forget tomorrow evening. See you then. See you. She's the best girl to be with because she doesn't speak like Part 5 May. So yeah, May's Ending. Give it up for May's Ending. But yeah, she's the girl that talks the most normal. Like, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. Instead of like, the incracy of the ancestor of the lies before me in the depth and sea. Like, she doesn't speak like that. And that's really good for me because I don't like reading, like, you know, that complicated text. On Monday, when I returned home from school, I encountered an unlikely visitor waiting outside the house. Hello, Rika. Apprehensive uncertainty had taken over her usually so lofty attitude. It was clear that she'd been dreading this conversation. Rika, I thought we were through. Please don't make this any harder than necessary. I realize I may have been a little harsh yesterday, but I try to understand this isn't about me or you. At times we must put aside our differences to protect those that are dear to us. In this case, May. May? What's wrong with her? Over the past month, her condition has rapidly deteriorating. A condition? She's been displacing increasingly aberrant behavior, even out in public. People are beginning to talk. Behavior? What kind of behavior? May hasn't been herself recently. Last Saturday, she was nearly hit by a tractor as she fled from some kind of unseen hallucination. She's always been an imaginative girl, but this has given way to delusion. And you know what I think? Not much of freaking intention trapping remained. I think it's the excitement. The exposure among the grave mounds, the trip to the beach. It's all too much for her. And at times I feel like you don't really care. That she's just another trophy to you. But you can't treat May like the other girl. She's too fragile. But she... Oh, I wish I'd put my foot down sooner. Rika's tone softened. I apologize. It's not your fault, Abe. As long as May moves freely in this world, she'll meet the people who influence her. She's 19 now, a legal adult. There's not much we can do to protect her. In a sense, your interaction with her has to serve as a trial to see how she would fare under new social relationships. Relationships we cannot protect her from. The thing is, May's mental issues, they stem from deeper psychological trauma. At times she had a difficult between what is and what isn't real. The reason she never fared well in school, she would be out causing commotion all day, chasing her imaginary fancies. Isn't she receiving, like, therapy? She is, and she's made great progress. But now that she's outgrown the programs, instead for children without psychiatric needs, she runs the risk of falling into a dark hole. The adult world preys on fragile minds. We need to protect and prepare May as well as we can. Though I'm not sure if we can offer her the right help. She sighed. Well, I apologize for moaning. There's been a lot on my mind lately with the indoor sports competition coming up next Friday. I have no business meddling in other people's affairs, and I won't obstruct you any longer. But please promise me you'll keep an eye on her. If you witness more unusual behavior, you must inform me in a timely manner. Mei's highly vulnerable young woman. If her episodes become any worse, she'll be in acute danger. Okay. I'll look out for something weird, I promise. Later that afternoon, I went to check up on Ina. I found her in a room, wholly intrepid. As she still seemed unwilling to discuss her investigation further, I decided to ask her what she knew about Mei. Okay. She stirred. Mei? You mean the slow-minded girl? She cast me a bemused glance. Everyone down here has a story about her. I let her corner me once, and when I was heading back from home school, I must have been in 8th grade. She started spouting a whole story about a family of rock rabbits who were all friends with her. It took me a while to tear myself loose. Without being mean, you know. You could say she was a vivid imagination. I believe she's mostly harmless, though. And the town loves her. Each year on the 1st of May, they crown her May Queen and parade her through the streets on a decorated wagon. Then the villagers dance around the maypole, while May oversees the spectate from her throne. Church really abhors this tradition, you'll probably understand why. But aside from that, she's mainly just loiters around town. You get used to her after a while. A wrinkle appeared on her forehead. But why do you ask? I can confirm she's single, if that's what you're after. I've been talking to her lately, so yeah, is she really single? No, I'm just... Ina smirked. If you show even the least bit of interest, she'll never let you go. I've noticed that. Sounds like she's found a willing victim. May seems very interested in geological features of the area. Sure, old stones, right? They're an obsession of hers. She has one of two things that she really fixates on. Rocks are always one of them. If I ever get my newspaper back, we could ask her to write a weekly geological report. I don't think writing is really her strong point. But speaking of geology, May has stated a few times now that Abbott was never a real island. That it used to be connected to the mainland somehow. I guess like Venezuela. Can you make any sense of that? Ina thought long and hard. Not really. I told you, she has a lively imagination. Okay, I get it. I'm gonna have to do therapy sessions with her. She's the crazy one. Even though May's farm was short distance away, a sticky heat lingered in the evening air that made it an unpleasant journey. Hey May. I arrived to find her standing outside. It was clear she'd been waiting for me. I'm so glad you made it. A concerned look formed in her eyes as she inspected my worn-out appearance. I'm sorry for acting so childish yesterday. What kind of music is that? But I really am glad you came. It's still early. Do you want me to show you around the farm? It's nothing special, you know. My parents run it by themselves, and I help them as much as possible. Okay. May, that's the cow shed over there. She gestured towards a large concrete barn that stood adjacent to the house. It appeared to have been erected during simpler times. We deliver milk to the village store and we make our own cheese. Okay, this is the chicken coop, I can see that. Chicken had a small country trail in the clearance between the trees where an old hen house stood. I also live at the farm, actually. This is where we normally keep the chickens. Sadly, they've all been transferred to a hospital for the time being due to recent avid flu outbreak. I'm introduced to them when they're back safely in their coop. Okay. I was impressed by the level of responsibility May displayed, now that she was a familiar environment. You seem really to know your way around this place. I do. My parents are very old, you see. They know their way around the farm, but they haven't really kept up with the times. She smiled. I try to help as much as possible, but it's hard. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay in business. Okay. I follow her up to her room. What a simple-ass room. That's the most basic shit I've ever seen. This is my room. She cast me an apologetic smile. Not really a place fit for a queen. It feels more like a prison at times. A lonely dungeon tower, where I suffer the same torture every night. She looked at me straight in my eyes. Have you ever had the same dream? Over and over again? No, that sounds like you need a therapy. I'm just saying. What do you mean? Have you? A dream that repeats itself night after night to the point you wake up screaming? Oh my god. At first it's hazy like a fog. But every time the dream returned it became clearer and clearer. To the point where I could smell the smoke and fire, feel the warm stone beneath my feet, hear the lapping of waves and the distant yell of the night watchman. As though I were really there. I can even hear the tortured breath of the man standing before me, wounded and weary. May had closed her eyes, recounting the dream frame by frame from memory, in a grave, monstrous voice that lost all its prior playfulness. Oh god damn. Tonight marks the 13 years since Sigurd was taken away. I'm still unwed, though likely not for much longer, and I go up to the dolmen every night by myself to pray for all the mothers for Sigurd's return. But this time I'm not alone. A man has appeared out from the shadows, heavily weakened, spear in the hand. He says he's looking for a shelter. That was sent away by the night watch, but he saw a light burning nearby, and now he's asking for a solace and a place to rest his head. Mei stared at me intently as I thought, pleading to make sense of her words. But all I could do was stare back in silence. Although I distrust the man, I bandaged and fed him. His naked body appears valiant underneath his wounds, and his eyes radiate a transparent blue. As he rests, I inquire further into his past. He tells me his enemies hunt him, they have taken all but his spear. The fire has died down and slowly replaced by a faint morning light. Okay. I ask him his name, but he laughs at the question. Tells me who is him, that I can refer to him that way. And the way he laughs, the boyish giggle, not at all hopeful, reminds me of a time, long, long ago, when we played by the sea. Suddenly I hear a crack as a spontaneous fracture appeared in one of May's plant pots. Provoking instead of the inspected damage, May had already resumed speaking, her voice sounding more frantic before. We were shaken by the sound of voices and the clatter of steel coming from the village below. Then May has appeared at the gate, laying war upon our homestead for harboring a fugitive. I can tell he's in anguish. Oh damn. I must leave soon, he says. My pursuers will burn down the village if they find out who you are hiding. But I beg him to stay, at least tell me his name. Please tell me, I cry. I need to know. May let out a bitter sigh, and she's crying, as you can see. This is where the dream ends. The moment when the world became intrusive and the morning sun awakes me. You understand my torture now, of dreaming the same dream again and again. And never knowing, her eyes flickered. Saturday night I trapped the cardboard all over the window so that no light or sound could penetrate my room. I know now. How the dream goes on. Amidst the sound of spreading violence, I asked him once more his name, although I knew the answer inside my heart. And he held me, he smiled, his eyes radiated in childlike brilliance. Do you not recognize me? Those eyes that I had cherished. Do you not recognize me? During those sun-filled youthful days. Now that I've returned, my sister. May grasped my arm. Is it you? Oh shit. Is it really you? Sigurd, my little brother? For who I've waited this countless years? She was staring at me as though I were the apparition from her dream, begging me with pale eyes. Sigurd. It really is you. I knew all along. Please do not leave without me. I'll follow you to the edge of the night. It isn't me, I beg. She embraced me with an iron grip, not letting go until she was fast asleep. Damn. That's unfortunate. It was nearing the end of the year. The school was alive with the carefree buzz of holiday preparations and communal events. Ooh, basketball court. My own mind was occupied with other matters, like the case of the fair-haired girl that had recounted me her dreams previous night. And it was with these thoughts in mind I was approached by Rika, who was laying on the last preparation for the indoor sport festival that will be held this coming Friday. Abe, could you please help me? The basketball team is so irresponsible, they never have their preparation done in time. They consider themselves the star athletes too good for manual labor. I'll just beat the shit out of them. But who ever heard of Abbotsford achievements in basketball? She cast her eyes over the deserted sports hall, which looked no different from usual. It were up to me, I discount the whole program. We should focus on our strong points. I don't like that. Like competitive swimming, shut up. I know you swim, but don't rub it in my face. I have Rika with a few menial tasks, such as mopping the floor and positioning the bleachers. Then we adjust the height of the nets to confirm the national standards. It isn't much, but I have to do. I don't expect as many people to show up anyway. They turn their attention away from the court. Are you coming to cheer for me this coming Friday? We're holding a demonstration tournament at the Olympic pool. I'd like you to take my picture while I'm standing on the podium. I seem pretty confident of your victory. Oh, I apologize for sounding so self-absorbed. It's just that it's important to me to create memories, especially when it comes to matters as transcendent as sports achievements. Okay. I promised Rika I'd be there, and before we said goodbye, I decided I wanted to share some of last night's events with her, as she seemed like the only one who was aware of May's disposition. I saw May again last night. She was kind of fucked up. That's it. An expression of both confidence and curiosity flashed over her face. There. How was she? I hesitated. Yeah, I would hesitate too. She was great. She appeared anxious. She had been having recurring nightmares, all centering on her little brother. Instantly, Rika took me by the hand, leading me to the adjoining locker room where we could speak in private. Ooh. Hey, Rika. Her little brother. Her long-lost little brother, right? Yes, she sighed. I was afraid of that. You should know, May doesn't have a little brother. How should I put this? What? It's important to keep in mind that not everyone has been fortunate in life as you and I. The Lord ways are. Shut the fuck up about that. Poor girl. We all have been common to suffer in this world, but for some suffering is made so much unbearable. She cleared her throat to keep her voice from breaking. It all happened about 1 year before I was born. On Sunday morning, the church warden would get up 5 a.m. to prepare the Sunday service. It was spring, but a biting chill still lingered in the fresh morning air. Oh my god! As the warden unlocked the wooden doors to lead to the main chapel, he heard a faint, expressive wail. Many things have changed since the days of arc bulrushes. Mei had been left on the front porch in early hours of morning, wrapped in a blanket and a plastic shopping bag. There wasn't even a note. Even if she found any later, she may not even have made it. Rika cleared her throat. There exists a long-standing custom of leaving foundlings on church steps. In the Middle Ages, there would have been a hatch near the entrance of the church, where desperate mothers could safely abandon their unwanted child. But during the 20th centuries, as the standard of living improved, the hatch fell in disuse and was bolted shut. Mei was the first foundling to turn up an abbot since the war. Poor girl. What a miserable start in the life she had to be abandoned by the very people who were chosen to protect her. Was she abandoned by her parents? God damn. For the first weeks, she was in and out of hospital, receiving treatment against the effects of undernourishment and hypothermia. Then she stayed with my parents for a while. But little Mei made an impressive recovery, and by the time she was about 3 months old, she was placed with the Walshing couple. They're good people, somewhat simple-minded, but I truly believe they have Mei's best interest in mind. So, her parents just left her? They were never able to have children of their own, you see, so you understand how overjoyed they were welcome the baby in their midst. But there was a rough road ahead. The first months of infant's life make up the most crucial part of the formative years. Mei hadn't received the undivided motherly love that is so essential for the development of a person's cognitive abilities. As a child, Mei would always lag behind. She worked so hard, but still. When I was 3 and she was 4, Mei was already like a little sister to me. She was the kindest child I ever knew, with such an active imagination. But her speech remained baby-like. She never figured out the alphabet and how to count. Okay. And it wasn't like she didn't try. It was just like also hard for her. So hard. Like something was in the way inside her mind. Something so brilliant, so beautiful that it drowned her understanding of the world around her. At times it was tough. We lived in different worlds. Mei entered elementary school 1 year late so that we were in the same class. But even there she struggled. The staff, the children, they didn't understand Mei. All the teachers saw was her weird behavior and the development milestones she kept missing. And the children took advantage of her kind-hearted nature by bullying her. And though I tried to protect her, I was only small. She simply couldn't go on this way. At the start of her second year, they chose to put her in the separate program. All social service in town are coordinated by the church, including special education. We couldn't do much, but at least we could protect her. Protect her innocent, kind-spirit nature. I would hate it to see her go through the regular school system. The savagery. Rika had clenched her fist tightly around the strand of her ink-black hair. Mei has been with us for 19 years now. The church's protection is coming to an end. She's not a child anymore. We need to find a place for her where she can learn real-world skills in sheltered environments. Do you have a place in mind? Rika swallowed. We do. A boarding school just over the border in Germany. I was seized by a paralyzing terror. They are fully equipped to deal with Mei's mentally challenges. You're sending her away? It's not, but she loves it here. I know, Abe. It's just that we can't offer her care she truly needs. The recent episode you speak of, they've only been growing stronger. After a while, Mei may no longer be able to distinguish her fantasies from reality. Don't you see? There's something so large, so splendid inside of her, as though she isn't truly of this earth. With a mind as beautiful and unique as hers, there's always lurks an imminent danger. If the figments of her mind aren't actually tempered, she could lose her connection to this world, and then she may fall victim to herself. I sunk down, defeated. Damn. Are you sure it's a good place? The very best. Helensalt Olsenkirchen is what it's called. My father maintains a professional relation with her chaplain. I promise to go visit her every month. During the moments I spent with her, Mei always seemed bright and easygoing. Though she acted childlike at times, I displayed her stupefying fascination with minerals. I wish I had no idea of the deeper lying issue that surrounded the young woman. And though Rika's plan of deporting Mei to a faceless facility would mean incubant dread, I admit the church has spent exhaustively effort towards Mei's well-being, an effort that was entirely unthinkable to me. This realization made the situation so equivocal that I was unable to think of anything more to say. I know it's a hard choice, Abe, even for me, but we need to do what's best for Mei. I'm absolutely positive this is what's best for her. Over the next days, I want you to spend as much time with her as you can, to make her time here worthwhile. But please don't tell her anything about our plans. If she catches wind of her upcoming relocation before being in the right care, it may trigger an intense episode of delirium. She could harm herself or others. This is sad. This is just... Mei, okay. Like, the thing is, this just became really sad. Like, I know with Ina and Rika, like, the stories were kind of sad too, or deep, but this is just like, this is real life shit. Like with Ina, that is also some real life shit, and fucked up real life shit. With Rika, that's just made up shit. But Ina and Mei, they have like real life stories that happen to people. It's kind of like sad to, like, it's hitting something. Mei, Rika told me they were moving her to a special facility. Really, Mei? But she's an integral part of our town. I couldn't imagine not having her around roaming the streets, harassing people. She turned more serious. Was this her parents' decision to send her there? Or was it the church behind this? The church. Her parents aren't even real parents. Where are they sending her? A place in Germany, in Unselkirchen. Huh. She took out her phone. I think I read about that place. Rika says they're optimally equipped to handle people struggling with her condition. Still, I don't like it. These type of places are often run by fundamentalists. They don't hold a rational view on psychiatric care, because consider mental disease a symptom of spiritual impurity. They have a bad record of dealing with their clients. Take a look at this inspection report. She handed me her phone. It speaks of unsafe environment and unsanitary living conditions. I also found a lawsuit that's currently running against the institution, accusing personnel of false imprisonment and psychical abuse. We are not sending Mei there. This isn't a place where they help Mei. They're locking her away in a private prison, maybe for good. I saw a panic forming in Ina's eyes. You need to warn her, Abe. Now! What? Me? Why me? You're a friend with her. She trusts you. I tried to think of something. I was about to leave when Ina stopped me. Hey, do you remember the conversation we had the other day? About how Mei told you Abbott was never an island? I looked it up on the Hershey website, and I'm afraid I stand somewhat correct. This area has underwent a lot of geological changes over the centuries. The Isle of Abbott was created by thermal moraine and a long accumulation of stones, debris that was left by the glacier of Ice Age. It used to stretch out long enough to reach the mainland, but due to rising water it became island around the 1400. So in a sense she was right, even though she probably just made it up. I mean, we haven't even covered this high school. I wonder. It would be like Mei to know these things. When she talks about the past, I hesitated. Never mind. Damn. This is really interesting though. I wonder where this will go. Please don't send her to a fucking institution. I spent the following day restless planning my next move, while the uncertainty of May's approaching fate hung above me like a bronze sword. I asked myself if it would be better to follow Ina's advice and warn her of impending move. Maybe May wouldn't mind the prospect. It would be a change of environment for her. A chance to meet new people. I thought back at how much she enjoyed our trip to Rio Beach, how much good new surroundings had to be at the time. Lured by these optimistic thoughts, I found myself casting stones at her bedroom window. It wasn't long before she emerged agitated from workshop. Oh, carefully with those stones, you could break something. I thought it was a custom around these parts. She giggled. We have a single glazing which makes it impossible to get insurance. Come on, let's go to my room. Fuck, May, you may be going to institution. She closed the door behind her. Should I just say it like that? My parents are growing old and forgetful. I have to help them with a lot of things, especially since I'm only child. I often wonder what will happen when they're no longer here. If I live here by myself to continue to farm. Fuck, do you want to? She thought for a while. I like it here. It's so close to the woods. Although the farm work is demanding at times, I don't know if I'll be able to carry on. Still, I feel a very strong connection to this place. And when I saw the lighted glimmer in her eyes, I just couldn't put it off any longer. May, I've come to tell you something. Rika told me that the church wants to transfer you to a new school in Germany. May stared at me uncomprehendingly. Ah, hey, no, my heart is aching, bro. She said it would be a place where you'd be able to learn many new things. Rika? Did Rika really say that? I'm not sure if she came up with the idea, but she was the one who told me. I don't understand. I have to stay here, my parents need me. I don't want to be transferred. A faraway shimmer was forming in her eyes. I know I said the farm was hard at times, like the chickens. I know they were really brought to the hospital. They get killed, all of them, when a pandemic breaks out. Oh no. Not just the hens, but the little chickens too. Doesn't matter if they're infected or not, it's just a preventive measure. Papa would always tell me they were moved to the hospital just so I wouldn't cry. But now that I'm older, I'm the one who oversees the process, and it doesn't change a thing. I still cry. You understand how hard it is? I want to stay here. I want to go to Dalman with you. Why didn't Rika tell me? There's a knock outside the door. Mel leapt up, letting out a muffled scream in the process. We hurried to the window. In faint light, we saw a black Mercedes-Benz parked in the driveway. At the edge, a two dark-clothed figure led by a handsome-looking man who appeared to be in his early 40s. That's John, Rika's father. Another laugh louder this time. Mama is home. She'll answer the door soon. May was trembling with fear. Are they coming to transfer me? Not wanting to lie to her, I just stared at her wordlessly. I don't want to go. Why didn't Rika discuss this with me? Rika, I really don't want to. No. No. Her breath intensified and abject terror unformed in her eyes. Then she addressed me clearer and more confident than ever. I can't leave. I like it here. I like you. I like Rika. Even the church. I have to stay here in Abbotsford with the Stones. I promise I won't cause any trouble. I will stay inside. I will try harder. Tell Rika to let me stay. Please let me stay here. Tears were rolling down her cheeks. Man, I need to sit there. I'm fucking up. I need to stay here to wait for him. I need to be here. In the meantime, I could hear Mrs. Walshing answering the door, conversing with John Cooper. Sounded unfazed by the nocturnal visit, and it struck me that, like myself, she must have been informed beforehand. It wouldn't be long before she let the men in. May had sunk to her knees, paralyzed with fear. Then the intensity of the moment weighed down on me, and I suddenly grew aware that right now we stood before a gambit that would irreversibly change both of our futures. I looked her in the eyes. Her quivering form appeared so far removed from the cheerful girl I had known to come to know, that I suddenly felt a rage current taking hold of me. May, we could escape. What? And then the second last word passed my lips. She grew calm. Escape? Wait. We have to escape. Again. What? I'm not afraid. As long as I'm with you. Sigurd. Oh! Jesus, I don't like this. At the moment, a tropical wind spread through the tiny bedroom, blowing her back her golden hair, revealing the pale, spotless white of her mesmerized eyes. I'm not afraid. I trust you. If it's really you, Sigurd. Oh no. Heavy footstep on the stairs. Is it really you? Is it really you? Oh shit! Let's save. What happens if I say no? It isn't. But the dream. It must be you. Oh, it's the same thing. Like you have to. I'm sorry, May. Immediately her eyes went back to normal. You're right. I'm sorry, I'm not myself at the moment. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble. There was a loud knock at the door. She straightened in her summer dress. Please visit me often while I'm away. And don't worry about me. Shab opened the door. This was not the ending I'm going to take. Epilogue, yeah. Okay, let me just explain something real quick so y'all know. The thing about these endings that there are a total of 6 endings if you want to really like get in detail with all endings. There are 3 endings with the characters, and there are 3 other endings that just leaving the characters. And leaving the characters all the same ending. So like you meet them afterwards, you discuss like what you had, and then it's goodbye. So yeah, it is me. A relieved smile crossed her face. I knew it was you. I'm so happy. Come on, to the window. The drop wasn't more than a few meters. I leapt down first as I caught May, who was a lot heavier than I imagined. I heard the door to her room open, but May took me by the hand and led me out by the yard into the nearby undergrowth. I followed her, her golden hair guiding me through the pale moonlight. The first minutes were hectic. We crawled through the thick bushes, gradually growing aware of the frantic shouts and heavy footsteps that emerged from the house behind us. but by the time Cooper's and henchmen had made their way outside, we had left them far behind. Our progress was slow. We tried to stay away from the main footpaths and road, taking detours whenever our path led us to exposed terrain. But the woodlands surrounding Abbotsford were wild and expansive enough to disappear into. And so we did, for a good 3 hours, until it was completely dark outside. Even Mei was uncertain of our current whereabouts. She looked exhausted. What do we do? Where do we go? I was hoping you would have the answer to that question. Ugh! Slowly we made our way through the opening trees that led us to a narrow trail. Mei looked around trying to discern our location, and she let out a sigh of relief. I know this trail leads to the stones. I just heard her lower her voice. Are you sure it's safe? She looked up at me drowsily, her eye almost falling shut, and felt she wouldn't take it much further. Let's go. In the dead of night, we arrived at the upper site. We settled down in an alcove between the two melons where they were invincible from the road. Ooh, there we are. They feel warm, don't they? We're safe here. Before I could even say a word, she had drifted into sleep. And though I made a resolve to hold watch all night, it wasn't long before I joined her. I heard some shouting footsteps. I found myself wide awake, tugging the Mei's sluggish body. Her eyes shot open. Danger! They're onto us. We need to move fast. I think they have a hound. In the corner of my eye, I saw 2 Coopermen making their way in our direction. Then a white bolt split the sky. I saw one of the thugs rolling on the grass, clutching his leg in agony. It's Furious! Mei had scrambled to her feet. Come on, run! While Furious kept our silence at bay, we bolted at... Bro, this dog in every ending is a menace. I love Furious. Furious is the GOAT. We bolted every lawn in the dense of the forest and led northward. Furious is a fucking GOAT. Mei seemed sharper now, driven by a few hours of undisturbed sleep. We traveled where the woods were the darkest, so that we had to find our way by touch. And though we kept moving, it was long before we grew aware of an ominous rustling of the bush behind us. I froze. Mei covered beside me. The rustling intensified, the bushes had opened. Oh, Lord Furious! And I left Furious, our silent protector. I love this dog. Furious! Mei spoke excited whispers. Thank you for helping us back there. They didn't hurt you, did they? Furious said, panting quietly. Though I urged Mei to head for further, she remained concentrated on the dog. Furious, can you help us with one more thing? We want to go to the castle hall. Remember the place in the woods where the floor is covered in stone? Dog stared with a playful look in his eyes. There was no indication that he understood our request. Could you lead us there? I promised there would be a real treat this time. The dog turned its head. Thank you. What? This dog is a menace. I love this dog. And though the thick undergrowth would continue slowly steadily, with never resting longer than a minute. At times Furious led the way, but he would also lag behind, seeming oblivious to his surroundings. But from highly inconsistent moss patterns on the trees, I could tell we were roughly traveling northward. There we are. The morning light had grown intensive, was now tentatively making it through the blanket of misty trees. I felt tired to the point that I cursed myself for even embarking on this pointless journey. Mei, however, had grown unusually quiet. Carefully she made her way around the clearing, smiling softly to herself and casting anxious glances to the trees. Then she turned to me. We're fleeing again. Always fleeing. Just like back then. We traveled for months through inhospitable terrain, but no matter how dangerous our journey was, I basked in a colorless bliss. For I'd reunited with Sigurd, my little brother, and my happiness drove away the fear. My terrain was made up for treacherous marshes, intersected by a patch of pine wood. Over the past centuries, the seas had slowly enriched upon our settlements, gradually turning the Arabs' pastures into the bases of brackish swampland. The food became scarce, and many of the tribes had been allied in the past, resorted to warfare of the dwindling resources. Where we went, we were met with distrust and hostility. Traveling outcasts, left to fend for ourselves, with only Sigurd's spare for protection. Okay. The one day crossing the woodland fen, a large appendage lashed out from the shallow waters. It wrapped itself around Sigurd's waist, evading the blows of his spear, preparing to strike with his large toothed maw. When suddenly, out from the shadow leapt a great wolf, an individual lunging its fangs deep into the snake's flanks, lacering the scaly armor. The serpent shrieked out in pain, dropping Sigurd, and it turned its attention toward its canine assailant. It caught itself around the wolf, trying to squeeze out its very life. But the wolf was strong, much stronger than an immortal beast, and resisted the serpent's strangling grip, long enough for Sigurd to thrust his spears into the monster's gaping maw, impaling it in the mud. Slowly the wolf rose to its feet, shaking at the drenched fur. Be free, for the All-Mother, ancestor to our tribe, is capable of taking many forms. Although the serpent was defeated, we realized he was herald of an Ikarian kind. The sea spread through our domains. Natural decay became gradually more dominant, pushing back our traditional clonic god into depths of the underworld. Okay. Summer turned to the Adam. Adam turned into winter. Nature died. Now that the marshes had frozen over, serpents stood at bay, and we built a shelter in the forest against winter storms. But we couldn't stay in the same place for long, as food was always sacred. I was 5 months pregnant at the time. I couldn't travel fast. Wait, so are you saying that you were pregnant with me? Or did I make you pregnant? Or were you a random pregnant woman that I found? Or are you my sister that's pregnant and we're fleeing? There's really a lot of questions I want to answer to here. During the coldest night, Befree would enter our camp, sleeping between the two of us, and a radiant warmth would drive away the freezing cold faster than any furnace. Befree, the great wolf, our mother, always watching over us. Okay. We rested for a while in the castle hall, but the ground was cold and barren. An urge forward instinctively, but our fatigue, we made our way to the S-dome which stood nearby. Inside its earthen interior, which turned out to be a quite spacious construct for a comfortable burrow of moss and fallen leaves, while Fyrus camped outside to defend against potential threats. This used to be a grave mound, right? What a morbid place to hide. A grave mound indeed. It was far more than that. A place of worship, an assembly hall. Her voice was beginning to drawl. We lived together with the dead back then, our ancestors. Nothing to be afraid of. She really thinks like we're okay. We slept all morning and most of the afternoon. I awoke completely disoriented, more fatigued than before I fell asleep. Oh, that happens sometimes with me too. The adrenaline that I fueled by previous actions had dwindled, making place for inaudible dread. When I looked up at my phone, I saw a few missed calls from Ina. I dialed her number immediately. Ina, what's up? Hey, I've been trying to call you all day. What have you been up to? Her voice sounded unwarily curious. Yeah, I've been out. I did what you told me, and I warned her. I provided Ina a summary of last night's escape. Has the town reacted to our disappearance yet? I heard some shouting coming from Central Square this morning, but I'm not aware of any large-scale search operations. The church probably wants to keep Mei's escape under wraps for now, as not to fall under scrutiny for her actions. Anyway, what's your current whereabouts? I can't tell you. Dalman M4 near. Okay, I told her. Please wait, I'll head down immediately. Make sure no one follows you. It wasn't long before we were alerted by fierce muted barking. Ina! There, Fierce, I brought you some sausages. Please keep quiet. Ina, I'm glad you could make it. I brought you groceries for lunch and dinner, tomorrow's breakfast. You probably haven't eaten for days. May cast Ina's ravenous glance. I also brought you some sleeping bags. You'll probably have to stay here for at least another night. I started looking for better options this evening. I don't understand. Why did Rika do this to me? Ina gave me a comforting nudge. Don't worry, we'll find a solution. I promise. Let's eat first. Aww, this is wholesome. And now it's the under setting sun. We feasted on the bread and canned goods that Ina brought us. After our meal, Ina was still a lot of research to do, get ready to leave. And while Mei stashed our new gained supplies inside of a burrow, Ina took me aside for a second. I want to get Mei some clean underwear. The poor girl must have been suffering. I felt the blood rush to my head. Would you happen to know her, sizes? What? Her sizes? Well, why don't you ask her? She blushed. I don't know, it's embarrassing. What? You think it's embarrassing for you? Now, it's girl to girl. I'm gonna ask her size. Okay. I mean, you might know. I definitely don't. She pouted. Well, I think she's larger than me, but not by much. Now that I think of it, the clothing store is owned by church people. They may become suspicious if I suddenly start buying larger sizes. You could tell them you increased her daily intake? Ina glared at me. You just have to do with some of my spares. Okay. Why was that a conversation we had to have? Ina went home and Mei turned in early. And while I fell into restless fragment sleep, Mei remained sitting upright, whispering long stories to herself. And sometimes though I felt quiet rumble passing through the stones below us. Yeah, she's probably a god or something that can summon rocks. Or something. After breakfast, Ina returned carrying clean clothing for Mei and additional supplies. I could do with some boxer shorts, you know. Oh, please, I'm not your mother. I've been working tirelessly all night just to get the two of you out of this sticky situation. I've scheduled a call with representative of a women's shelter in Bremensberg to come Thursday. May be able to stay there for a while. The church won't be able to find her there. Have you locked into places for me to stay? Not really. But you have roof over your head once they lock you away for kidnapping a mentally impaired individual. Hey! I'm not mentally impaired. May glared Ina disappointedly. I'm sorry, I must have had the two of you mixed up for a second. You fucking bitch! Anyway, May I brought you something else? Ina reached into her bag and produced a large book. Illustrated Gog lexicon was written on its cover. May eyed apprehensively. I thought it might provide you with some distraction while you're keeping a low profile. Thank you, Ina. It's just... I'm not a very good reader. Ina smirked. Are you sure about that? Come on, let's take a look at this together. I'd love to find out how bad your reading truly is. Even Abe here can read. Can't you, Abe? The girls giggle as they seated themselves against the base of Dahmer. Why does everybody diss me? Why am I always a target? God damn. And as soon as Ina opened the book, revealed the illustrations, inside May, initial hesitation turned to pure delight. Oh look, that's a limestone. And a hematite. Hematite? Oh. Around noon, Ina got up to help me prepare lunch, while May remained fully engaged in the book. Okay. So how she's doing? Slow but steady. May didn't even know all the letters of the alphabet, you know, just her name and the letter S. I've just been actively keeping her away from books, convincing her she was incapable of reading. That's terrible. And nonsense. After just a few hours of practice, she's already reading words, short phrases. The human ability to read has evolved a relatively short time ago. It's not ingrained too deeply in the structure of our brains. An adult can overcome illiteracy quite rapidly with the right training. Other functions such as speed, which need certain simple networks to develop, they cannot be learned at a later stage. Also, you may be interested to know, Karen called this morning. That's great. Is she making a steady recovery? Gradually. She suffered a cerebral contusion which fully healed, but she's able to leave the hospital soon. I took the liberty to tell her about May. I jumped. Don't worry, I haven't told her your whereabouts. And besides, she seems sympathetic to our cause. Karen told me how mental health service is organized in town. It's the council's responsibility to allocate care for beneficiaries. In Abbotsford, however, we only have one mental health care institute. It's called Lazarus Foundation, is run by the church. Due to Cooper's influence in town, all underage patients with psychiatric needs are automatically redirected to Lazarus. There's no viable alternative. That's bad. Probably, but not for males of his age. We have no agency to change that. If her legal constitution states in cases against the council, she may be able to have her funds redirect to a proper mental health organization. One that actually works for her instead of doing everything in power to keep her in the system. Unfortunately, her current custodianship lies with her parents, who are loyal to the church, which means that once they find her, the Lawson Foundation will ship May off to Germany, never to be heard from again. I sighed. Also, there's one more interesting detail Karen let loose, which is the Lawson Foundation celebrates their 15th anniversary this year. Okay, well that's good for them. No, think about it, 15 years. It's 15 years ago that May was taken out of the regular school system and placed under aspect of the church. Before, the mental health cases were handled by a regional healthcare provider. This was founded to harbor May, specifically of that purpose. What kind of disturbance could that girl have caused for an entire institute to be established solely for her cause? I'm telling you, she makes rocks move and shit. She's probably weird. When evening fell, Ina returned home and May returned to our sleeping bags inside the melting tomb. Hello. How long do you think we'll need to stay here? I don't know, just a short while longer. Ina says she has a plan. It's okay. I could stay here forever if we had to. I sleep much better here than home. And do you know? The nightmares have stopped. They've disappeared ever since we ran away. Almost as though we were urging me to flee, to move out of the indomitable mashes. But that's good then. Then you're not worse, then you're better than you were before. Inch by inch, the sun painted the walls burrow its morning rays. Good morning. After breakfast, May returned to her jolly book, in which she had progress and accelerating speed. While I was basking in the midday sun, paging through the encrusted list of missed calls on my phone. Some were from Rika, some from school, but none surprisingly from my father. That's very sad. Suddenly, May called me over. Okay. Come look at these marks. She was pointing at one with the stones, trailing a finger along a series of pendular grooves that run along its side. It's called glaciation. It's formed by the wear of the stone suffered when it traveled inside the greater glacier. It runs lengthwise along the face of the rock as the direction that causes the least friction. And while she was speaking, Fear suddenly came up and was visibly alarmed. And when I listened, I detected a faint sound of footsteps, voices coming from the forest trail. Do you hear it? They're coming! She closed her book and hurriedly we gathered our belongings, stashing our sleeping bags and food far inside the dolmen, hidden from outside view. Come this way! Okay, Mei took me by the hand, leading me into the opposite direction as where the sounds came from, while Fear stayed nearby. Soon the chirping of bird rustling leaves and all about disappeared. Due to the lack of foliage, the castle halls indulged in death-like silence that was only interrupted by muted sound of branch cracking underfoot. What could that have been? A search party, maybe? No. You think they're looking for us? No. It's okay. Just listen to the silence. We'll be able to hear them from miles away. All is covered in snow. Hello again. It was heavy, almost too heavy to move, as I protected the tiny life inside of me, which was close to dying out. Sigurd would go to hunt, bring the cat shot to our hiding place, but winter was harsh, harsher than the winters before, and it spread with frost fingers across the land, so we found no refuge. We had no choice other than to return to the village at Skell Hamlet, which we fled previous summer. There we would plead the shelter and heat until our child was born, even though there was little chance they'd welcome us. Okay. And so with the relocate of captives, we embarked upon the journey home. Many times I was slow that we moved at a crawl. Many times we had to interrupt our voyage to hide from the purple winter storms. How often was I close to giving up, fearing that little fire inside would be extinguished, even if we get set up a step further. But Sigurd comforted me, telling me that I have the courage, for he believed that the great fate rested on the birth of our child, a fate connected to the very survival of our kind. And be fired up for all mother watches over us throughout, chasing away foes, bringing us small prey. In a trail, I knew we followed an illuminated path. After 13 days of travel, we reached our destination, the scheduled crest of setting up a torment youth under which our village lay, covered in snow, wrapped in silence, such absolute penetrating silence, as though all life had vanished for miles around. And as we descended the ridge, we found the root of silence. Under the snow lay the buried Atchok city, burnt out houses. Sorry. Blood corpses of men, women, and children. The war had raged throughout our homestead, leaving no soul alive, no hearthstone, and shattered. Our entire clan, from which had fled of a renovation, had been routed from Hillside for good. Of our village, only the great dolmen remained as an immovable testament to the person of ancestors who took refuge between its solid walls. May looked up at me with saddened eyes, just like we do now. And while we sheltered, paralyzed by listlessness, the spring broke through. A soothing, delightful, warm spring that chased away the winter storms. And amidst the glow of the beautiful, heartwarming spring, I finally found the strength to give birth. Under the comfort and care of Sigurd, my own brother and husband. Wait, whoa. Can I read that sentence one more time? My own brother and husband. This is some shit I don't want to be part of. I take back everything. With barefree protecting us from harm, I gave birth. 2 twins. They are both idiots because we're brother and sister. For 2 flames had burned me in all that time. Beautiful, strong infants, boy and girl. The presence of all the mother ran strong in our bloodline, and for that blessed morning we were happy as we bathed and fed our newborn children. But with great joy come inexorable grief. I was weak, Sigurd. The journey, the exposure to the cold, grueling delivery, left me wholly depleted. It was though I'm keeping these 2 things being safe, my own fire had been given its final flame. I was weak. I could feel my fire dying out. All I saw was Sigurd holding our beautiful children. Mei. Wait. S. Sigurd. No. Wait! Mei had become a deathly pale as though she were close to passing out. In silence we sat and waited, unsure of our next move. And when 2 hours passed without any suspicious sound, we really set off to pack our belongings. Oh, I thought she fucking died! As the dolmen was so peaceful that I began to wonder whether the voices in the wood had been no more than the figments of our imagination. until a dark-haired figure emerged from the opening between the stones. And before I even realized what was happening, she had struck me in the head with a large leather-clad tome that she held in her right hand. She always beats people up with Bibles. So I was knocked backwards by the blow. Rika! Mei stood paralyzed. There you are. Come now. Abraham, we knew you had your eyes set on Miss Walshing all along, but you managed to go as far as to kidnap her. Rika took out her phone. The fugitives have been located at the same place where you found the sleeping bags. Come on right now. I wanted to grab Mei to make run of it, but still found myself disoriented by Rika's blow. A thin trickle of blood was making its way down the side of my neck, steadily staining my shirt that deep burgundy. Oh, poor boy. Did it strike you too hard? I keep forgetting how heavy these old Bibles are. They really don't make them look like they used to. Her lips curled into a forbidding grin. If you can't stay conscious for a little while longer, they'll have excellent healthcare available for you at the Monkland jail. Rika, that's so mean. Hold your tongue. You're in some deep trouble too. How dare you run away from us? Mei whimpered, overwhelmed by the spontaneous outburst of rage. Her one-time friend had unleashed on her. Our church has always looked after you, Mei. We cared for you, and no one else would. Not even your own parents. Mei allowed an anxious to wail. We housed you, fed you, gave you an education. Education? What kind of education? A special education tolerated exactly 4. You taught her nothing, not even how to read and write. Rika grew quiet, her explosive fury making place for a severe, more articulate anger. No, Abe, you don't understand. It was what she needed. Rika shot a spiteful glance at Mei, who was sobbing silently. She's an abomination. Rika! Ever since she was young, Mei has displayed a certain trait that was always there hiding in her eyes, like an unsettling presence. Rita's her early life had been eventful and hoped it would pass with years, but it worsened at the moment. She entered elementary school and she began learning how to read and write. Many classmates would come to fatigue whenever they spent too much time in her presence, and even worse, things would break in her vicinity. One day when she had been put in detention for driving a classmate to tears, her teachers found her inside a storage room surrounded by shattered school supplies. Mei just sat there staring at her a blank look in her eyes. I have a vague recollection of disturbing events. For us it was heartbreaking to see a young, innocent child be consumed by powerful demons. The things her biological parents must have done to her created such a horror, truly blood-curdling. Gradually older kids began to pick on Mei's weird behavior. She was bullied mercilessly to the extent that they had to take her out of school. But the thing was, while the Laser Foundation worked on the creation of a private asylum for her, we noticed that Mei began to fare much better, unchallenged by social and cognitive stimuli. It was clear that the stress of a mainstream education had brought out the worst in her, and without this influence she returned to her good behavior. After we confined her sobbing regimen of solitary play and coloring books, the chilling glare slowly disappeared from her eyes, and then mysterious occurrences ceases happening. Just then 2 figures appeared taking position behind Rika, gesturing for them to stand by. While Mei was under auspices of the church, my parents instructed me to keep an eye on her. To be her friend even though I didn't want to. To be honest, I was afraid of her. Bro, don't say this shit to her! Mei stirred. I hated it, being paired up with the retarded kid! Rika, I fucking hate you. It was my duty as the pastor's daughter. I fucking hate you, Rika. To act as a caretaker. I fucking hate you, Rika. Calling her retarded. Aren't you a son of God? Fuck's wrong with you? Rika! Mei began shaking. I hated it so much that I even played mean pranks on her. But Mei didn't mind. I was her only friend. Rika, you... Mei was doing so well. Her behavior grew stable under our unwavering care. But look what you've done to her. Camping trips, books, Mei can't have that kind of stimulation. You're undoing all the work we worked so hard for. I can see it in her eyes already, the growing madness. Go, Caesar! Take it to the car, the police will deal with the boy. But as the men enclosed on the trembling foreleg of Mei, white lamps begin to shine. It was a calming light that enveloped that entire scene, drowning out of all the noise and violence, and appeared to be emanating from Mei. At that moment I began to wonder if maybe Rika was right, if maybe the overpowering mixture of excitement and emotion had awoken a certain attribute in the girl, a new trait wholly but inconveniently by human understanding. Rika, what is happening to me? I feel heavy. And as I strained my eyes, which almost succumbed to overpowering luminous scenes, I realized that the light didn't come directly from her, but I radiated from the dolmen behind her, in which the S-clip had begun glowing mysteriously, and then I was blind. All breaks down into cycles. What exists is fated to return us, and what exists is fated to return upon itself again and again until the end of time. The apple seed sprouts into sapling, then grows into trees until one day itself is ready to bear fruit. And thus it repeats. Does that sound like the greatest torture to you? Reliving your life, every second of it, over and over again, into eternity? We are condiment to reoccurrence, growing infancy, childhood, parenthood, before in turn giving birth to new life. Hello! How far can we trace back the lineage? Don't look at me. Through history, the great civilization, the way seas of dark lay in between. I don't like that she's looking at me, like directly at me. Or so the prodigal event, that initial completion of the cycle that all existence ripples out from. Each iteration of the cycle is bonded to the prodigal event. All of life is seeped unto the uniting essence. The essence of all. Be free. Life today mirrors history born from anguish and despair. The reunification, the escape, the birth, the death. It reoccurs again and again like originating myth to which all of them exist and must atone. Each cycle attempts to come to completion in the same way I did on the spring day. Each of our actions are stepped into the essence of all, carrying the limitless potential of the first irritation. And each time the cycle repeats, the potential accumulates, steadily growing. Suddenly an enormous blast rushed through the forest as a forest like a tropical cyclone blew us to the ground. What is happening? And beside me I saw Rika, who appeared to be in anguish. Her clothes had been torn by shreds by the blast. Oh, what? Above the sound of the winds, I could hear her praying furiously as though her faith was being tried to the fullest extent. What? She does the great wonders, making fire come down from heaven upon the earth within sight of men, and she deceives those that dwell on the earth. Maybe what the fuck is happening? Gradually all return to silence. The presence of the All-Mother is distant now. No longer do we perform the forgotten rites. Many transcendent gods have since been bestowed by the allegiance of men. For short periods only, these youngest gods have constructed in a fashion that is bound by linear time. What is happening? As the white light continued to outward, I noticed that the beams did not hurt me at all. The silver went through me, filling me with comfort and sensation of immaculate bliss. For it felt as though I recognized the light, it's a powerful warming touch, as though it had been with me even from the time I was born. And as the beam grew stronger, I further surrendered to its glow until I could no longer determine where the boundary between myself lay. It's when I saw how the tale ended. Inscrutable grief gave birth to the greatest happiness. Our new family, already without a mother, looked out for a ravaged world. Death accused us from all sides, as though taunting the last living joined his ranks. With Beefree nurses the twins, I laid my sister to rest inside the grave mound. Her, their mother, the last of our tribe. What? And while we remained there, mourning for 7 months, I etched the title of our clan into dull external walls. S, sign of the river, flowing eternally, fruitfully, until the estuaries of time. So flourish in them, blood of washing. What? Epilogue. No way that just happened. It was about a week later that I received a message from Ina summoning me to her office. So, are you ready to get back to work this coming Saturday? Work? I thought it had been shut down. I thought so too, until I received a highly apologetic letter from the school board notifying me of immediate rescindment of our monthly funding. And the reason? No reason stated. I think we may have hidden benefactor pulling strings somewhere. The door opened and 2 visitors entered the room. Oh, thank God she's fine. I thought I became Sigurd, she became the mother, both of us died and just laid the 2 children on the ground for them to take care of again. I thought that was a cycle. Oh my God. Mei, Karen, thank you for joining us. You're just in time. From now on, Mei will be writing our weekly rock-solid advice section, which answers jolly-related questions. As managing editor, Mei will be in position above you, so Abe, please make sure her every need is met. Sounds great. Does that mean she was able to enroll in high school? I have. I need to make remedial classes until the end of the year, but after that I can enter 10th grade. Karen laughed. Mei has been settling in just fine. She's a great helper in the garden. We're almost done decorating a room. Didn't the church give you any trouble? Well, they were apprehensive at first, but I noticed your little confrontation as it definitely struck some fear into them. And also I've been doing some digging. I looked into the financial administration of Lazarus Foundation. In fact, they've been misappropriating community funds ever since the inception. It was one big mess of shady bookkeeping, missing receipts, and justifying payments of the offshore accounts. Once I hinted at this matter, Cooper became docile as a lamb. Suddenly, the transfer of legal customization was complete today, even helping move Mei's belongings. And all operations of Lawson Foundation has been suspended indefinitely. If they ever start up again, I will take only call to inspection of the board to have them shut down. Come on, Karen, let's head down to the cafeteria. I want to interview before the next campaign kicks off. The two women exited the room. Mei turned towards me, smiling self-consciously. I really like staying with Karen. This is the first time we lived in a town, you know that? But she's helping me fit in. I'm even allowed to set up as a chicken coop in the garden. Ah, those poor neighbors. And in her sweet and calm smile, I saw a will to life of 100,000 generations reflecting back at me. Hey, please come to the stones with me. I want to show you something. Now? No, okay, that was the end. Oh, that was good. I like that ending the most. That was the best ending. That was legit the best ending. That's no debate. That's no fucking debate. Ah. Yeah. What is happening? Oh, Deluge. Nice. Press any key to continue. Okay. Yeah. Look, the ending routes for Rika and Mei. Yeah. Now it's done. We have finally played through Deluge, Threnody of the Crashing Waves. But yeah, now it's really over. And yeah, I have to say, I just installed it in Steam and played through it. I love this game. This is one of the games that I will remember because it's not that it's just like, it's very underground visual novel. Like, of course I have read or played visual novels, not on my YouTube though. This is the best I played on YouTube. But like, I played Doki Doki and all that, and like, of course, they are really good. Like, this had something special to it. I really liked it, and I hope the developer keep making these types of games because this one is really good, and I hope y'all enjoyed it too. So yeah, that was all endings and the end of me playing Deluge. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope I get to see more games like these. These are good. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good day and peace.